Welcome back to Press Start Together. I'm Ed, also known as the Altaholic, and I am once again surrounded by some amazing people who I get to call my friends. Every month, we make time to get together to talk about some of the gaming topics that interest us, as well as try and introduce you to some new and incredible voices of the streaming and gaming community. Before we jump into our show, I would like to introduce them now. I'm going to start with one of my lovely co-hosts. He is your favorite alien. He is Xeno's mothership. Xeno, how are we doing tonight?
We're doing great there, Alto. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Why don't you tell us a little something about yourself?
I'm just a humble alien from outer space looking to enjoy the world of gaming and learn how humans operate through gaming. And it has been quite an interesting year, to say the least.
Honestly fair. Love that. And speaking of co-hosts and trying to learn a little bit about humans, I have my other lovely co-host, Tess, who is on her own journey to learn about RPGs. Tess, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Hi, my name's Tess on holiday, and don't forget your sunscreen, and I just became a high elf. So, royalty.
Love that. Love that for us. Now, this month we are joined by two amazing guests. I'm going to start with the person, well, on my right. It may look different on your screen, but Slam, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where people can find you?
Hi, I'm Slam. I stream cozy story-driven games on Twitch under the username Slaminum. I'm also on Instagram and Threads mostly.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And last but not least, our last guest for tonight. This is birthday the other day, so we're all going to wish him a wonderful happy birthday in chat as well. But Des, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where we can find you?
Oh, hi, everyone. I'm Des the Chow, and I play all games, really. There's no discrimination in the games I play. I just play everything and anything that my PC can run. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube, and I sometimes post toilet thoughts on my threads.
Awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. And again, once again, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I am really excited about tonight's episode. It is one that I've wanted to do for a while, and I'm so glad we have the cast we do tonight, because it's less about any one game and more about how our relationship with games have changed. Things like games used to ask just one thing from us: pick up a controller and play. And now they ask a hell of a lot more. They ask, how good are you? Are you playing the right way? Is anyone watching you? Did you start at launch, or did you miss that magical moment? So tonight we're talking about how gaming shifted from something personal and private to something social, performative, monetized, and something, sometimes honestly, exhausting. But before we dive into that, I would like to catch up a little bit with what we call our inventory check, which for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, we go around and we talk about what we've been playing and what we've been doing the last month. So I am just going to start with the same lineup I did last time. So Xeno, what have you been doing since last month?
Pretty much the same thing, except a little bit more Pal World oriented. So lots of Where Winds Meet, lots of Pal World. Pal World is a grind for sure, but I'm very much looking forward to their 1.0 release. Not sure when it's coming, but I'm sure we're going to get some news very soon, since 2026 is nearing the end of its first quarter.
Oh God.
Yeah, nearing the end of its first quarter. So other than that, yeah, basically just those two games. Lots of fun, capturing monsters, defeating bad guys, all that great stuff.
Love that. Awesome. And Tess, what about you?
I just became Elden Lord and beat Promised Consort Radon in Elden Ring, so I'm doing really good. And I just started Baldur's Gate 3 and made my character today. And this is my first RPG. So, we're off to a really good start for a month.
Nice. I mean, technically, if we want to go that way, it's your second one, because Elden Ring, while a Souls-like, is technically an RPG, but we don't have to go into that. I'm just trying to get you to play more turn-based games. Yeah. Oh, role playing as a victim. That was good. Slam, what about you? What have you been up to?
I've fallen to peer pressure, not looking at Tess or anything, and been playing Animal Crossing. I'm a brand new player to it, so I'm starting from scratch, and I'm really, really, really addicted. I was catching bugs till 1 a.m. for Flick the other day, and I don't go to bed that late ever.
It really be like that.
Well,
It is.
well, from what I know about the game, you're going to have to pay off that debt somehow, so good
Yeah.
luck on ever sleeping again.
Yeah.
Gotta get them
Yeah.
bells.
Oh, gotta get them bells because Nook be like, "Where's my money?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Tanuki does not play.
He doesn't. I've also been playing lots of Disney Dreamlight Valley. That's one of my favorite games of all time, and some Skyrim.
Very nice. And Des, last but not least, what about you? What have you been up to, my friend?
Like Xenos, our friendly alien here, I've been also capturing pals and putting them into the workforce, in Pal World.
Make 'em work.
And yeah, you gotta make them work. You gotta make that production materials as high as you can. But I've also been playing a non-creature, not a non-creature catching, but a survival creature catcher, which is Pokemon, which is a really cool fan-made Pokemon MMO
Oh, nice.
that was made, and it's got a good chunk of the regions from the original games already in there. And some really neat stuff, but I'm currently soft locked in the Resident Evil event that they have on that game, because there's an Alakazam team that just keeps making me go Alakadam. And my Onyx was not ready to get Mega Evolved against that. So yeah, there's that stuff going on, but also I've for the most part haven't been streaming much because I've been really absorbed into modding making a new mod list for my Skyrim playthrough I'm planning to do. Because the regular itch comes back and you're just like, okay, well, time to play this game again. But anyone who's done modding for Skyrim will know that majority of your time modding Skyrim is picking out the mods and then
making sure they work.
Of it is you actually playing it. Yeah, making sure they're working and stuff like that. And then you play for maybe 3 hours. Like, okay, that was fun.
I might need to ask her for advice.
Yes,
it's a great time.
Yeah, step one is apparently
Skyrim.
upgrade your laptop, Slam. We don't want it. We don't want it to explode.
Oh, if I tried Skyrim on it, it would actually we'd be over.
Too funny.
But I got it working before. It looked like RuneScape. I did it on my old rinky-dink laptop. So it's if you could deal with the trade-off of graphics, it's a pretty good time.
Maybe I can do that.
Oh, too funny. But yeah, for me, I also unfortunately have been streaming all too much. I've been under the weather for what feels like way too long, but when I am streaming, I have brought back my Beat My Backlog series, so every time I go live, I randomly spin a wheel, and whatever it lands on is a game I have never played from my Steam library. And since I have just 1 or 2 or 658 games installed on my computer right now, it's
Installed? Oh my god!
I was like, whenever he said installed, I was like, oh no!
I run a
I was
NAS,
like,
so
that's a
yeah.
decent.
Yeah, that's just the install, but we don't need to talk about that. What I own is just slightly more. Yeah, Steam sales. Those of you know. No.
Yeah.
But offline and mostly on my Steam Deck, I have been playing Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and it is such a fun game. It is a wonderful love letter to the Dragon Quest series, and I just love that series as is, and I'm just having a whole lot of fun with Dragon Quest VII, because this is my first time ever playing that one. And the Reimagined one has a lot of additional quality of life stuff for modern gaming as well. But if you guys want to know
Just
about,
a
oh, go ahead.
quick question.
What was that?
I was asking just about Dragons for a second. Is that the one that was on the PS2, or like was Dragon Quest VII the one that was on PS2? Across it years ago as a kid, and it was too hard for me. But
Yeah, I think it originally was on the PlayStation 2.
okay, I
And
know what game you're talking about now.
Yeah,
Specifically.
I don't know how I didn't
Yeah.
get into Dragon Quest until later in life, and at that point I was like, well, I'm not going to go back and play the old ones, and then they just started re-releasing them, so it's like, of course I'm going to go back and play them now. But yeah, highly recommended if you have not looked into it. Looking at you, Tess, it's a fun RPG. I think you'd like it. Just saying. yeah. But, you know, now that we all know what headspace we're at, as everyone is probably going to make fun of me for having a game hoarding problem with my, with my NAS, let's talk about the first place games usually test that relationship, and that's difficulty sliders and accessibility. You know, the second a game asks you to pick a difficulty, it's not just asking you how hard it should be. It's asking who you think you are as a player. You know, for some reason, difficulty has become a moral stance instead of a setting, and accessibility is not difficulty, but people often conflate the two. So I would love to start this conversation with one of our guests, and Des, since you were the last topic, I'm picking you first this one. So, difficulty sliders and accessibility. What's your opinions, hot takes, or thoughts?
I don't think they should be at all, to be honest, in curating a game that becomes like more challenging as it progresses. And instead of like being like, oh, the game is completely on easy mode or like on super duper hard legendary mode, you should just enjoy it for what the developer intended you to be playing with. And then after you do so, you should then unlock like the difficulty modifiers after the fact. But generally speaking, I think a lot of these like a very not super friendly new player way. I mean, Elden Ring is probably the other rest of the ones that From Software has made in the past. But I've also known that there's been games from other genres, like of other companies that have made it so that if you played on easy mode because you just want to learn it. Yeah, there's a lot of games that will actually like penalize you or like gate you from content unless you played on their like recommended setting to begin with. And I think if they want to make you do that in the first place, why not just remove the difficulty slider all as a whole and just enjoy it as it was intended? A great example of this was for me in more recent years was Fallout New Vegas because there is difficulty sliders, mind you, but even on like very easy mode, if you go to like the end game location where death claws are, to the left of the starting location, they will rock you every single time. And it's a great like textured way of teaching players of like you come back and visit this thing later and go do everything else instead. Yeah. And I feel like a lot more games would benefit from, zone-based difficulty instead of like just global or procedurally procedural difficulty, I think is what it's called. Like the thing that Oblivion does or did, where it will like scale up enemies to you as you got stronger. You should just face the strong things in the strong area and the weak things in the weak area. Anyways, yeah, sorry. That's my whole little spiel about that.
No, yeah, that again, I don't disagree with most of your takes. Like, there's nothing to apologize for. This is a safe space. The only thing we will judge you for is potentially Nintendo takes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zeno, what about you? What is your, opinion, or, what do you have on this topic?
Well, you cited Souls game. Sorry, you cited Souls games, Des, and as much as we could all talk about how difficult they are, but their intention is to be difficult. Kind of like you were saying, developers intend for a certain curation of their game. They're like, I want it to play like this. I want them to feel this certain thing during this certain moment. Xenoblade Chronicles did this great zone-based enemy difficulty, but few extraordinary hard bosses thrown in. See, I think Tales games tend, not all, but a few Tales games tend to bridge that nice gap. Like, I like when a game says, okay, your characters can go to a level 100, they can go to level 100, right? Now, going to level 100 has meaning because there is a boss that say you can only fight, or you can only fight easily at a level 100. Now, that also comes in to my second point, is player perception and approach to gaming. A lot of times, because we have huge communities that are built in the Souls niche, right? That application of player approach tends to replicate through other games. So a lot of games will look lackluster because people are not playing them as intended. They're playing them like through a min-max perspective, or through, which understandable if you've already played the hell out of the game and you're just trying to find more to do in something you love, then I can see you wanting to do that. But if you're going into the game, you're like, okay, you know what? Got to go straight competitive, got to min-max this, and you can't really feel like you enjoy it. I understand that some people do enjoy doing that, but having that player perception creates this overt topic around a said game. Oh, is it too hard or is it too small? Pure example is Where Winds Meet. It can be a very, very, very easy game, or it can be an extremely, extremely hard game if you want it to be, because there's a lot of difficulty sliders. Having said that, doesn't mean that the community deems you a good enough player if you use difficulty sliders or accessibility. Like, people sometimes need it, man. Like, people have, arthritis or something even, and can't press buttons fast enough, but they still want to enjoy a game that's fun to them. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it for me on that one. Is good difficulty sliders and reason for there to be difficulty, you know?
No, I again, I don't disagree with you either. I think this is going to be an interesting thing because I have a feeling each one of us may be bringing up Souls-like in one way or another. And speaking of Souls-like, our Elden Lord, Tess, what are your opinions going on tonight?
So, a lot of you guys know that I am disabled and I do have tendinitis, and I also have problems with a carpal tunnel in my hands. And so it makes gaming kind of hard, especially whenever it comes to competitive gaming, like, the harder games like Souls. Like, I can't FPS for that, and also my motion sickness issues that I have. But part of it too is just like, I can't hold a controller very well. Like Xenos mentioned, I can't press buttons fast enough. And so there are things, thankfully, in Elden Ring that you can use, like buffs, and you can also summon different characters to kind of help you out. And people criticize you a lot on using buffs, using like certain weapons, and they say that you're a fake player if you use summons. It's just like really toxic and kind of gross as a community, especially if you're wanting those games to do better so that you get more of them. You can't just keep, boxing people out, and it's also not fair to the people who want to be able to play the game and enjoy the story. Like, Elden Ring is super lore rich.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful story, but a lot of people get scared away by the difficulty of it. But I have conquered it. And I am very, very proud of that fact. But something else that I wish was more accessible was Hollow Knight and Silksong. Because those games make my hands hurt like no other. And it's because you constantly have to hit the same button over and over again in either platforming or boss battles, and it's just really unfortunate because they're really, really fun games. So I'm super excited to enjoy Baldur's Gate 3, which has a story mode, and I can sit back and relax and hopefully not have hard combat to deal with this time.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Tess. And yeah, I've got a lot of similar points to you. But before I go, I would love to hear Slam, your take on tonight's first topic.
Okay, I kind of have very similar thoughts really to what's been said before me. I think they're both necessary in the way that accessibility in particular is really necessary, and I just want to, like, there are games where they come out maybe not thinking so much about that, and I'm really like the ones that listen to their community and change that. You guys are probably sick of hearing this, but Disney Dreamlight did that. So they listened to their community. Like, originally, as you were fishing, you had to push like Y. It's kind of a puddle, and it evaporates out, and you kind of have to hit it at certain points. But people were saying it was hard on their joints, and they're having to push buttons repetitively. And so they changed it, so now you just hold down the button until you collect it. So they've done things to make it a lot easier and more accessible for players to play. And then it breaks every couple of hours, so you have to take a break. But for like, so that's kind of like accessibility. I think it's really good when, because it is a developing area, we're finding more things that people are needing help with, especially with gaming or anything really. And I appreciate games that add that stuff in, even if it's later in the point, or later than it's released. And with the difficulty scale, I have 0 gaming skill, and so I like it on easy. Not really. I mean, I like to play normal. I I'll play whatever. But difficulty sliders are really interesting because you have like a lot of your story games will have that, or adventure games will have that. But then you have your other range of games that there is no such thing as a difficulty slider. And like Fortnite, for example, it's just you get put in with some sweats. It's either going to be easy or hard, depending who you get put in with. And so sometimes I think with the whole, like, trying to play it to, as Des was saying, how it was originally intended, I think is kind of, like, it makes sense to have that, but I also see the point in having, like, easy mode for people who maybe don't have enough time to play, like, a full game with the hard difficulties, and then the people that just, you know, they want to sweat it out, so they're going to play it as hard as possible and have all of those challenge and put survival mode on, because if they're not starving, they're not playing, right? That's kind of it, really.
Yeah, no, and I think it's, like I said, I think we all have some very similar points, but for me, I'm going to say, like, I think every single player game, no matter the genre, should have difficulty sliders. Because we all struggle differently, whether it's time, energy, stress. These are all real variables. And at the end of the day, you know, I've heard so many things, you know, not just you guys, but like just the loudest voices in the room where, like, oh, you're not playing the way that this game was intended. First of all, I grew up in an age where, oh, it's too hard. Cheat codes were built into the game. And if not, they sold cheat devices, which I guarantee you every single one of those people probably used one day in their life. Whether it was to give themselves infinite lives, make things easier. It doesn't change anything. It's not a competitive thing. If, like, there is a completely different thing where, look, I competitive games like Slam, you mentioned Fortnite. No, you can't change the difficulty slider in Fortnite. You either get good or don't. And guess what? That's fine. But I moved to PC gaming over console gaming years ago specifically because of the modding scene and because, much like Tess, I have a disability. And the modding scene, the first thing that they make is, if a company doesn't make it, is difficulty options and accessibility options. And I love them for that. You know, I will fully admit, you know, when I got to a point in my playthrough of Elden Ring where I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, it's physically causing me, you know, like, pain. I went in and I downloaded a mod and I dragged it over and it reduced the, you know, the health of everything by 25%. Are you going to say that I didn't get the same experience you did? No, it's the same exact game. Oh, the developer didn't intend it that way. Okay, then the developer can come to my house and play the game for me. If that's the experience they want, that's fine. The experience I want is to see the story. And I've said this so many times. I don't care if it's a story mode or an easy mode. Too many people sit there and go, if you're not playing it on this difficulty, you're not really playing the game. Well, what the fuck have I been doing for the last 40 hours? There's, you know, I'm enjoying it. Oh, I don't enjoy it that way. Okay, I'm not asking you to play on that. You know, don't. Put it up a notch for you. You know, I get, you know, a couple hours a day, you know, to play a game if I'm lucky. I'm going to play on story mode if I know I only have an hour and I know I can get to a save point in that hour. Who cares? But it's just so interesting to me because, like, talking to some people and they're like, oh, well, it just makes you invincible. No. I didn't say I want a God mode. I want to sit there and be able to tweak things. And I think that a lot of, like I mentioned this with, like, I'm playing Dragon Quest, the reimagining of 7. They have individual sliders for each thing. So you could sit there and be like, do you want to be healed after each battle? Yes or no? Do you want to deal more damage to monsters? Yes. If so, how much? And you can move that slider. Do you want monsters to deal more damage to you? Yes or no? And you could literally change everything about it. And it doesn't change the story. Who cares? You know, if you want to play a different way, play it. As far as accessibility, I am so glad that more and more companies are getting into it, but we are still not at a point where it's, you know, for lack of a better term, comfortable. You know, I do enjoy the occasional first-person shooter, and playing on a keyboard and mouse, I love my keyboard, but after a while, sometimes it gets, you know, it's not comfortable. So I think I've shown this off before, I have like the one-handed Microsoft controller. And I love this thing because I could program it to be WASD and then just still use my mouse. Or if I'm playing a game where I'm like, hey, you know what? I only need 4 buttons. I can use that instead of pulling out another controller. But that's a hardware thing. There still needs to be software ones. I've mentioned this before. If it wasn't for Zeno being in my chat while I was playing Spindle, I would have never completed the game because there's no colorblind option, and the entire palette was black, purple, gray, and white. And when he was having trouble trying to find things, it was like, I don't know where the fuck to go. There's no map. I've moved everywhere. And I just happened to hit left once. And it was like, oh, I guess that wasn't a wall. It was a door. Like, I'd still be playing that fucking game. And that game has an 8-hour playtime. You know, like, there needs to be, like, accessibility sliders at minimum for the most common of afflictions. You know, turn off what's the word I'm looking for, the quick time events. Turn on colorblind options. Turn on motion sickness things. Like, I don't want the head bob when I'm in first person if I'm not wearing a VR headset. Oh, it's more immersive. Great. Yeah. And now I've got to clean up my desk mat because I've been vomiting. Like, nobody wants this shit. You know? So yeah, look, I Yeah, like I know that it's one of those things where it's like I don't, what's the word I'm looking for? I get a little bit passionate when it comes to accessibility and difficulty. But I feel like at this point we have to, because not enough people are. Also, Ace the Space Boy, is this the greatest podcast of all time? It is one of the podcasts of all time, one way or
Yes.
another, but I appreciate it. Thank you for popping in. Young Misery K, glad to say hi. Great. I'm passionate. Yeah, like when it comes to certain things, when it comes to specifically difficulty and accessibility, I will argue for accessibility all day. And those of you who are in the chat that have known me in real life, and those of you who have, I do have a coworker or two in chat, you know I have yelled at my job because of accessibility options. But I digress. Before we move on to the transition topic, because I'm sure we have a bunch more arguments waiting, does anyone have anything else they'd want to add tonight on this topic?
Yeah. Just to clarify on my own point from before, I'm perfectly cool with accessibility stuff. By the way, like, and well,
We
I
didn't
want to
think you
be
were
very
not.
clear.
Like, yeah.
No. But like to be very clear, I also take advantage of them. I am both legally blind and what's it called? Like because I'm legally blind and I have carpal tunnel as well. I struggle a lot of times to play for too long, and most of my gaming sessions looks like me just squinting at my screen, which is why I don't have a face cam on in the first place. Because you just see like my forehead up against like the webcam, and me just going like, "What is that over there?" Um, and for my whole argument of like difficulty stuff, whatever, it's not so much in the same, like, yes, I do agree that a lot of single player games should have, it doesn't hurt to have these options. And like I said, Fallout New Vegas does have them at the end of the day. It's just for me personally, I like it when the developer is able to curate the experience as I was meant to go through it, so it gets progressively harder. Think of like, any Mario game, realistically speaking, kind of does the same thing, where it's like, level 1 pretty easy, and then you keep going on, and it gets a bit more difficult, but they kind of like ease you into it, so you're not just starting off at like the hardest thing, which is what a lot of Souls games tend to do, and Souls likes. But I also am a person who's okay with the idea of like not every game is meant for everyone, of course. Like due to my visual impairment, I know I can never play Valorant or CS:GO or any of those like high competitive shooters, because I'd be shooting at a barrel and thinking it was a guy that moved and being like, "Did you see that?" And they're like, "No." And it's a whole thing. But I do agree though with single player games. I think having the option to turn it down specifically, if you're just here to enjoy the story, is always like it's always a good. It's never a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
Either it's just usually I like it when developers will leave me like the difficulty that the game was meant for, like originally with the intention of making whatever. And if you wanted to swap over, you can. However, I do agree with you in the same, like one part I do heavily agree with you in, all of you in this regard, is screw the people that shame you for playing on an easier difficulty or not in the way that they want you to play because they don't play it that way. If you don't like how I'm playing, you can play it too.
Yeah.
It's you can get it at home.
Yeah. Yeah, and no,
So-
I want to point out, I don't think anyone was throwing shade specifically at you. I understand exactly what you're talking about when it comes to, like, I am okay with a game ramping up the difficulty because that is a part of the progression. Especially, like, I'm an old World of Warcraft player, and I don't know if anyone else has played the game, but the term welcome bear comes to mind. There was an area where you were in your like starting area where everything was just like all safe and sound, and you had two paths, and it told you it's like go right to get to the next town. but there was a left path, and it was like, well, what happens if I go left? And then a level 60 bear would come out and just one-shot you because that was a level 60 area. It's like, we told you to go right. You knew what was going to happen. It's like, you know what? That one's on me. I'm okay with this. But like the welcome bear was hilarious because it was the, well, what happens if I go left? Murder. Murder is what happens if I go left. And like games that are like that, I'm okay with. I don't want to be the level 1 character. Like this was my whole thing again when it comes to like, I don't want God mode when I want accessibility and like difficulty things. I don't want to be the level 1 like character that's able to just walk up to, God, slap him, and then be like, oh, okay, game over, I win. I want progression to get up to there. Yeah. But yeah, no.
It's a great the welcome. I've never played World of Warcraft, so hearing about this welcome bear thing is like brand new to me.
Oh yeah, look up. You could see like video compilations of like classic WoW. Just look up welcome bear. I had it happen to me myself, so like this is why it was like a forum thing for like joke for years, where it was like, well, what happens if I go this way? Yeah, sure, go ahead, try. Bear.
There was a very similar interaction in Dark Souls 2 because that was the first ever Souls game I ever played, and it was the only one that was like able to run on my little rinky-dink laptop when I was in high school. And so when I was playing it, I saw you're supposed to walk into like the 3 crone women, like I forget what they're called. The tree house is what I'm going to refer to it as. You're supposed to walk into the tree house, but there's a pathway that goes off to the left. And I knew that looking at other people talk about these games, exploration's like a big thing. So it's like, ooh, if I can walk over there, maybe there might be free loot and stuff like that. And this big old monster guy showed up and just kind of like thwacked me. And I was like, oh. And I didn't know he was not meant to be fought. So for like a week, I just kept throwing myself at him until eventually I killed him. And it gave me nothing as a reward.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm just dumb. Got it. And I played the rest of the game.
Hey, but you did it.
Yeah.
I did do it. And I still am very angry with myself. No, there was no satisfaction. I was so upset. I closed the game and didn't play for 2 years. I was like, nope.
Oh my god. I take that back.
Oh, that is too funny. But yeah, also yeah, that's phenomenal.
I have the philosophy, even as a kid, of whenever a game got too hard for me, I just wait until I'm older because I figured older me would probably have this stuff figured out. And surprisingly, he never does. But Jack and Daxter was, for the exact same reason, Jack and Daxter was never completed when I was a child, but it did get completed when I was like 17 or 18, and I went back to it and I was like, oh yeah, this game was easy. What was I scared of? And then I got stuck again at this old fishing mini game, and I was like,
yeah,
I'll come back in like a year and try again.
Well, that is the perfect transition for our next topic, because even though it sounds like a lot of us agree on difficulty and accessibility, story versus gameplay may be one where we might not. I would personally love to hear not only, everyone in our podcast thing, but anyone who is in our chat, feel free to pipe it in. Myself or one of our other hosts, they will comment, we'll curate it. This is an interactive thing. There's a reason we do it live and not just, on Discord and talking to each other. So feel free to jump along. But when it comes to story versus gameplay, like, I would really be interested to know, again, like your guys' topic, because I could talk about this a lot, and I think it kind of goes into a little bit with my points when it comes to like difficulty sliders, accessibility, but I think this one is a little bit more different, because I would also love to know, what do you guys prioritize when it comes to purchasing or playing games? When it comes down to it, are you more, I need a good story and gameplay is second, or I need something that is going to hook me while I'm controller mashing or button mashing, and I don't even, I click through all of those, lore bits, and I don't know anything that's going on. So this time I'm going to start with Slam, because I can. So Slam, go ahead.
Story and gameplay. I think honestly, it like both are important, but for different reasons. As like you touched on it earlier, Alcoholic, with the like when you know you've got like a set amount of time, a story could be quite good if you know like you can play like a mission or two missions, or get up to a save point before you have to leave. So story can be really, really good and versatile if you kind of understand the like what game you're kind of playing, and it can help with timing. Gameplay can do the same, but I tend to find it being slightly different. Like, I think if a gameplay is good, so a story eventually will end. Like, inevitably, it's going to end when they stop working on it, stop developing it, whatever. So if you're only playing a game for its story, that's great, but there is like an end time to that. Whereas if you're playing the game because it has like really decent, rich gameplay, then you might have more use out of it, or you might be able to play it more. Yeah, I think that's kind of my point.
No, yeah. I'm not opposed to this. Like I said, this is a safe space. We will only judge your Nintendo opinions. But speaking of Nintendo opinions, Tess, I see you shaking your head, so I'm going to call on you next.
Being raised on Nintendo games, I came to expect polished perfection for video games. And so now whenever there are like bad mechanics or bad graphics, it's really hard for me to get into a game, and I definitely need good story. Mechanics come second, but like visuals are always going to take priority for me. And so that's not to say that the like 8-bit graphics are unplayable. I don't mind playing that as long as they look good and the story is good and you can tell what the little shapes are. Good to go. But I don't want to be looking at little blobs that I have no idea what the heck they are, and I also have no story, and I'm just wandering around in a pointless world, which is why I think a lot of people find it hard to get into Hollow Knight. Because you're supposed to be lost at the beginning of that story. You're supposed to be confused. And if you don't know that and you don't Google it, you're like, I'm mad, I'm done. And so for games where that's not intentional, that's where I go. I'm like, I'm mad, I'm done, I don't want this. That's also why I love Otome games. They have great story. And typically they have good visuals because they are anime style. So it's basically like a choose your own manga adventure.
Otome?
Dating sims.
Oh, okay, thank you. I was like, I was like, I don't know this word. So, but okay, yeah. So like a dating sim
Japanese
visual novel.
Dating sims. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum. But Des, how about you? What do you got on this topic?
For me, it's like you have to hit two out of the three main things for me. Graphics is not really a big one though for me, although I can understand for a lot of people it is. My partner included. She will refuse to play any game that just graphically doesn't meld well with her mind. Like she looks at Borderlands and thinks it makes her brain itchy. I don't know. But it can look nice. It's just she doesn't care for like the big black like border lines around everything, I guess.
Okay.
But for me, it's graphical fidelity is definitely like on the lower rung of this whole three listing thing. But it's definitely like if it has good story and good graphics, I like it. If it has good graphics and good mechanics, I'll like it. If it has good mechanics and good story, I like it. It's it has to hit like 2 out of the 3 basically for me. Um, Almost every time, with a few exceptions here and there. If the story kind of carries it enough, I can just ignore everything else. Um, like again, Fallout New Vegas aged like milk, both graphically and gameplay wise, in terms of like how nice it is to look at and just animations and all that stuff. And the moment to moment gameplay is kind of, for lack of better words, kind of buns. But the what's it called? The like dialogue system in the game and talking to people and just, I mean, there's robot cowboys, and I was able to do therapy to a chef cannibal. I don't know what other game would let me do that. And it fit the game. Same thing with other games like Jade Empire from like BioWare way back when. And KOTOR 1 was like my brain explosion as a child because I was like, whoa. I'm not going to spoil the twist for anyone who hasn't played it because I know the remake's coming out and there's a lot of people who are now old enough to not have played it or even heard of this game until at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why you gotta say these
Realize
things?
that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it's definitely. I had to explain to some younger friends of mine. I'm like, "This is Skyrim." They're like, "Oh, this game looks really old," and I was like, but yeah. For me, yeah, story can trump everything, regardless of mechanics and stuff like that. It's also why I do like a couple visual novel based games as well. I tend to lean more to wacky, silly stuff though, rather than like super serious things. 9 out of 10 times when it comes to my little visual novels or dating sim stuff, like Dead by Daylight's Hooked on You, which was a an experience. I don't know if you ever tried to like romance serial killers before, but that was something.
I see you've met my ex.
Oh,
Yeah, with Zeno. What about you?
Sorry. No
Yes,
good.
sir.
It's good
I'm
drink.
for some reason forgetting. Oh. Okay. Damn, no, I'm forgetting the question again. Squirrel brain.
Story versus gameplay. Yeah, you're good.
Yes. Okay. So
That's why I have a
I
script
do
up.
for this. Yeah. No, I'm looking at my thing and I'm like, wait. Which part were we on right now? I'm like,
the serial killer part.
Yeah.
yeah, the serial killer. So for me, it's like, for me, I'm not really worried about graphics per se, depending on what I'm like playing, right? Like if I'm playing something from, let's say 2025, so playing something from 2025, but it has a low, like an older graphical style, like it's chibi or it's pixelated or something, right? What I expect from that game after that, since you are no longer sacrificing entire chunks of your game code for graphics, you should, there should be tons of content. There should be not near endless content, but for a game that is like say an $80 pixelated game, you want content, right? You want like say it's an RPG, pixelated RPG, adventure RPG. There's tons of them. There's lots of mobile games that masquerade as them as well. But if that game has tons of content, like lots of weapons, lots of armor, cosmetics, maybe even characters. Like there are games like I forget the names, like Sokuden. It's an
Suikoden?
older game, but yeah, Suikoden. It has like somewhere up like I think it's first and second one has like almost like 150 characters.
Yeah, it's over 100 characters that you can recruit in each game if you want to.
If you want to, and exactly, and it's like an interesting style of game, but it is older style, right? And like for me, games like that type of gameplay, it holds up in a sense, right? Because you could easily take that game, take it a step further with graphics, even just one step above. Doesn't have to be hyper realistic, doesn't have to be Octopath Traveler really good too. Exactly does. And these are the games I'm talking about. Games like that tend to not worry too much about, like they know there's going to be people who are going to play the game because of its graphical style, because it's so niche. Whereas there are games like what's the game called? I think I mentioned this last time. Hell is Us, and it was an Xbox game that came out. They did no marketing for it. Like it basically got marketed, and then it came out like the month later, and the people who played it said it was just a depressing X game. Like, I mean, that might have been an exaggeration, but it was more story and more graphics than it was anything gameplay related. Whereas games like Suikoden and even Octopath Traveler, they have tons of content. For such, it's dense. It's very dense. Things like Harvest Moon, things like Animal Crossing, right? You keep people hooked with the gameplay because it feels endless. It feels like something that's alive, that's evolving. That's why sometimes live service games can work, but yeah, it's very, very few and none that can keep that story versus gameplay versus monetization aspect balanced. But that's pretty much my take on that, really. It's more about balance than anything. I'll play a game that's older, it's got good graphics, but story matters more with engagement for me. Like, I want to be able to know what's going on. I want to be able to be immersed in the story and feel like I'm a part of it.
Yeah, no, I agree again with most of you. I also love that the topic of graphics came up because it's not even one I thought about when coming into this topic, but that's also because I think, like a lot of you, I don't think about graphics in a game unless they're bad. And there's a difference between graphics being bad and an art style choice. You know, where it's like, hey, pixelated, cell shaded, you know, or, you know, made to look like an older game, like retro inspired. Yeah, I'm fine with those. But if it's just, oh, this is that I can't tell what something is, or the drawings are like bad, or this is like 3D, you know, rendered, but the head keeps flopping backwards. Like, yeah, no, like that takes me out of it. But when it comes to like story versus gameplay, for me, it depends on the genre. And I don't know if that's like a weird thing, but like I've played several JRPGs and RPGs with like great stories, which had terrible mechanics and gameplay, and I can get my way through them and I can push my way forward on a lot of them if the story is good enough. If your story isn't good and you have bad gameplay, I'm out. And it's this kind of the same way with it, where it's like I've tried some game where it's like, oh no, like this is like the most if Expedition 33 did not have as engaging of a story as it did, I don't care that the gameplay is probably some of the best for an RPG recently made. If the story sucked, I would have dropped it. But like, I also feel like gameplay versus story, like if I'm playing like a platformer, I may care more about like the gameplay. Like I don't like, there is no storyline to like Super Mario. You know, go save the princess. Okay, that's all I need. Like, there's no overarching like story and lore. Like, oh, Yoshi, where'd he come from? Shut up, it's a dinosaur. Okay, like you're fine with it. Like at no point.
Island. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, like
you want to see the island? Give me an island game.
Yeah, like at no point does anyone have to sit there and like explain and give you like, you know. Like, wait, what? Mario's a plumber from Brooklyn. Why is he like trying to save a princess? Because jump. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, like there's
but
no
the
like
exposition.
Yeah, like yeah.
Go fix some pipes. Even in the movie, they went to go fix some pipes, and then they see this pipe. They're like, "Okay, I'm gonna go into the pipe." Boom.
Yeah.
Cartoon world.
Yeah, like at no point have I sat there and been like, "Oh man, I'd love to play Mario, but I just wish it had more lore." Like, no, like I don't care. The same thing with like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro. I'm not saying that those games' story is bad. The gameplay is what gets you into them, because I played Spyro. I don't know what the story of Spyro is. You know? Who cares? Dragon go jump, dragon burn things, and have fun. You know, caveman dragon brain jump. Happy. You know, but like it's weird because like then there's the intersect where I sit there and I was like, I do play a lot of like action adventure games, and like one of the ones that I keep bringing up, like that I go is like Tomb Raider. I was like, I love the Tomb Raider series, but the original Tomb Raider game, I'm so glad is getting a remake, because I go back to it and I was like, oh man, these controls actually suck for like the original game. And then I sit there and I was like, wait a minute, what actually is the storyline of the original Tomb Raider? Because I'm fairly certain there were dinosaurs and like aliens at one point, and I was like, I don't really remember what the hell I'm doing here. But it's like, but how it evolved, like over time, it's like, oh yeah, okay. So it's like I don't know what kept me playing Tomb Raider, because I was like, I don't remember the story, and the gameplay was of its time. But it's like, yeah, it's really weird, because like I flip-flop going like, there are games I can play where I don't need a good story. And there are games that I will sit there and be like, this, like The Last of Us. The Last of Us has an incredible story. The gameplay is great too. But even if the gameplay dropped off and they had me doing like a ridiculous mini game in the middle of it, where if I had to go out and wrangle that giraffe that happens, like that you see at one point, I would sit there and be like, yep, don't care. I want to see where it's going next. But then there's also, like you mentioned in the chat, I think it was, where it was like the Yu-Gi-Oh game, where it's like there's this like mini game portion where you're like, I'm gonna cheat. I can't get past this.
It doesn't have one-to-one driving. It was supposed to be done on the DS, and through emulation nowadays, which is the only way you can find that game, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's worse. Just button input and latency.
Yeah, and it just reminded me, like, I actually really enjoyed the story and 80% of the gameplay of Eiyuden Chronicles 100 Heroes, which is like a spiritual successor to the Suikoden series. But in order to recruit one of the characters, you have to play a Beyblade minigame. And it is the worst fucking thing on the planet.
What?
Yeah. I shit you not. Like, and it's one of those things too where you're like, oh, okay, this is kind of like quote unquote like cutesy and whatever, where I'm like, oh, okay, like it's something at one point where it's like, all right, cool, I could play it like once or twice and ignore it, until you realize that in order to get this last character, you have to do it. So if you want the true ending of the game, you have to play this terrible, terrible mini game. And what's even worse is, in order to get, I don't even remember what they called the Beyblades in the game, because I was like, I've removed it from my memory, that the golden Beyblades that you have to use in order to defeat the final Beyboss are random drops from optional enemies. I sat there and I went, absolutely fucking not. I was like, after 2 hours of running around this like world that I loved, and this, I was like, I just want to see where the fucking story goes. I 100% opened cheat engines and went, give me the things and let me beat this thing. He has zero health. Boom. Yay, I win. Because I don't care. Like, I'm not going to sit there. I literally watched a YouTube video afterwards of somebody else who did it the quote unquote correct way. And it was 6 hours of him just grinding for Beyblades. And I went, ain't nobody got time for that. So that's where I come in. Like, I want a story. I can deal with bad gameplay 90% of the time, but if your gameplay is that bad, your story better be the best thing on the planet to make me want to cheat my way through the end.
Yeah.
Let it rip, but not like this. Yeah.
I think there should be a really big distinction too when it comes to this type of like this topic in particular. When it comes to like gameplay stuff, there's a very like big difference between like just mechanics, the like for moment to moment mechanics, whatever, of a game, and like just really weird and unnecessary game design to pad out timing, whatever.
Yes.
And that sounds like really, really bad game design more than just bad mechanics.
And again, if it wasn't for like, I love that it was optional until I sat there and I was like, I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of the Suikoden games. But so I was like, no, I want the true ending. I want all, I think in that game it's 110 characters that you have to recruit. But
Good God.
the only way to get the 110th character is to recruit this person. And if you miss them, you can't get that last character because the only way you get the last character is recruiting the other 109. And I was like, look, I'm sure there's somebody out there that sat there and went, this minigame is the greatest thing that has ever happened. And I, you know, and it's their Gwent. And you know what? For that guy,
Yeah.
I'm happy for you. I'm not that guy. You know?
No.
But yeah, like I've played some terribly bad mechanical RPGs. I can't even think of some of their names right now. And I'm sure we all could go back and sit there and be like, oh man, like how did we get through this? A, we didn't know any better in the 80s and 90s. Yeah, Arc Rise Fantasia, 100%. But like the story is great. And if the story is good, I can probably suck it up.
Rifia was. I just turned the game to Japanese.
Oh
I
god,
just turned
yeah.
the game to Japanese.
Yeah, no, we
And
don't
it
have to
wasn't
talk about voice acting.
Actors involved, it was the script.
Yeah.
It was the script on that one. But gameplay was cool. It's turn-based. It felt Final
Yeah.
Fantasy, but the bosses were ridiculous. Like one with like 4 million health and can heal all of it in 2 seconds, and you never know what's gonna happen. Great, lovely, love that. No,
Yeah.
not doing those games.
Yeah. And like
Wee.
yeah, I did. Oh, Tess, did you have your hand up or
I don't want to talk over people.
we need buttons?
We do.
Teacher, I have a
Flame's like,
question.
I can't raise my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like that's a great idea. How do I do that?
But I would like to say on the flip side of that, there are mini games that like I would like to have at its own standalone game, like Sploosh Kaboom from Wind Waker's Zelda.
Oh yeah.
I completely agree.
Yeah, I feel like they're like that might be a topic I write down where it's like mini games that are better than the main game, because like I feel like half of that could just be like Fallout in general, like some of those side quests. Like I don't know if I've technically beaten Fallout 3 now that I think about it. I have like 80 hours in it.
Ranted. I have ranted and raved over this topic for so many hours, and to make it a really short one, I am like upset with Sega because time and time again they will not give me my standalone Chow Garden game, and I'm like, just take my money and give me my cute little guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like
Yeah.
the
I'm tired of playing
Despicable
this old
Me Canadian
game.
movies. They just ran with it.
Yeah, and I'm like, you could just, if you do that, like there was a whole thing where one of the like community managers, I think it was on Reddit, came out and told everyone about like how I forget his name. I think his name was like Chris White Shark or something. He does like all the like ports of the classic Sonic games to mobile that are now getting delisted, so get them free while you can on the App Store. But he offered a idea of making a mobile Chow Garden game that would link with your Sonic Forces account and stuff like that, so you can like buy cosmetics and stuff like that with the rings you got in those games. And it was like all good to go as a great pitch, and Sega said, we're not looking to do this right now, and they just kind of shelved it. And they're like not gonna bring it up ever again, I don't think, because Sega just really is allergic to making money at this point. Because there's enough of us out there that's just like, I will pay money to put a little bow tie on my guy. Just give me it, please.
Yeah. But
They should do that. That sounds like a great idea.
yeah, well, like, there's so many things that are good ideas that Sega won't do. like we don't that could be a topic in and of itself. I feel like, again, Des, you're not wrong. That is like, if there is a company that is allergic to making money, it is Sega.
Yeah.
But I think this is a perfect transition point, because like one of the games that I almost brought up was like Metal Gear Solid when it comes to like gameplay versus story. But the reason I want to bring it up too is our next topic is, how streaming changed how we played. Like how the debate changes when someone's watching. Streaming, at the end of the day, it turns into a performance. Our choices change, the difficulty changes, the pacing changes. So I want to, I'm really glad, because like we have a wonderful panel here and everyone does stream, which is great. I would love to know, like, how has streaming changed how you play or what you play? And I'm going to start with Zeno this time.
Personally, I have slowed down on how fast I consume a game now. Like, I'll actually save things instead of being like, "Hey, let's complete this game as fast as humanly possible," and then you find yourself not enjoying it later on. Like, I'll give an example of a really great game, Hogwarts Legacy.
Mhm.
I played it like for 2 weeks straight. Just didn't even. This is before I was streaming and stuff, but didn't even play a single other thing. Didn't touch another thing. 8 hours to 12 hours a day just playing it, and then right after I was done, I was like, "Oh, like I don't really want to like touch this game right now." And I know most games get that. And then I sort of only recently started realizing, hey, I don't really remember that game very much. Like, I played the game, I spent 100 hours in it, but I feel like I rushed everything. I just play like I overloaded myself with stuff. But now when I play a game, I'm like, okay, I can put this one down, start another game, put this other one down, start another game, and not feel, if it's a newer game, and not feel completely attached to having like spending like hours on end just completing it. And I think maybe Wins was the reason for that, since I've spent a lot of time, like almost like 400 hours since it came out, and not a lot of it was done on stream. A lot of it was done in my own personal time. But now I've realized that I need to start treating other games that way, and sort of allowing certain things to be left for the days that I stream them, and then certain things to be left for me to enjoy on my own time, you know? But like, I mean, other than that, not really much has changed on the way that I see gaming or play games. Maybe difficulty. I try to do things that are a little harder than I normally would. I go out of my way for challenges that I normally wouldn't do. But that comes with the whole performative thing, right?
Yeah, no. And I didn't even think of like the whole, do I do things on stream that I don't do in my like quote unquote real life playthrough. So I'm gonna have to think more on this topic as well. I thought I had everything. Now I'm gonna have to update my document. But yeah. Hello, gamer. Streaming a game is intentional. You know and understand what you're getting into. Yeah, no, that is a great point too. Man, I'm gonna have to edit my own thoughts on this. So while I'm doing that, I'm gonna throw it on over to Slam.
Oh, hi. How has streaming changed my gameplay? That I think for me, I plan a lot around streams. I have I have a diary game on my iPad with just that I kind of put notes out, and it's things like what I would want to do in stream, and then once I'm in, like while I'm actually streaming, I have it open and I like take notes of, okay, we're low on this thing, but it's going to be really grindy, so do it off stream so it's prepared for stream. And I'll do a lot of things to prepare for stream. So in that way, like, I think I do a lot of more grindy things in my personal time, and I try to be very especially, actually with most of, I think the only game, because I don't know if Animal Crossing has a storyline, but all the other games have storylines. Kind of, maybe.
Kind of.
I
Pay your
mean,
bills.
just, you know, yeah, you
I
free
know
yourself from the
Skyland's
financial
who you're
pressure.
bringing there. The storyline takes all of like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
In the big scheme of things in that game.
Okay. Yeah. So I try to do, I think, storyline things as much as I can, and I try not to do anything storyline off stream, because I feel like this is when I'm doing my streams, I try and make them like almost like episodic. So you should be able to go out from a stream and come into the next one, and it should be where you left off, or where we left off last time. Maybe not in the exact same place if I've had to be grindy, but like story wise. And I do a lot more research, mainly in Dreamlight Valley. That's kind of my favorite thing, but I try and research a lot more and try and just know more so I can answer questions if anyone has any, as well as kind of show some of my favorite things about the game.
No,
That's me.
yeah, no, I think that's a good point to bring up, because I think, again, not to talk too much before we kick it over to someone else, but like that research that you have to do, like back in the day before I was streaming, like, oh, I want to play a video game, I'm just gonna buy it. Now it's like, well, do I want to share this? Do I want to show somebody this? Is it gonna, like, I'm not trying to do this for a career, but like the people who are, I don't even want to say are, but the people who are just even trying to like grow an audience who may not have their own community yet. Can I do this? Will it screw up the algorithm? Will people come watch this? It's an interesting thing to think about. So yeah, thank you for that. And Ritter says, I feel like a lot of streamers tend to rush through games and fear that the viewer count goes down for not being engaging enough. Yeah, no, that's another like great point where it's like, I play mostly RPGs. I've always wanted to play Persona 5, but I also know it's a quote unquote older, or it's a game that a lot of people have played at this point, but it's a game that I think a lot of people have, in our circle would sit there and be like, ooh, it'd be interesting to see like that person's take on it. Where it's like, I've played Baldur's Gate 3 God knows how many times, but I'm still going to watch Tess play it because it's like, oh, I want to see another take on this, or I want to see their first experience. Or that's a game where I forget even one of the things you did today in your play, and I was like, I didn't even know that you could go there. Like, and I've played this game like 2 or 3 times, so it's like interesting to see like where you go and what can go. But like Persona 5 is awesome, but it's like to rush through the game is like 90 hours. And I was like, I stream at best with my, life and condition, what, like 2 days a week at, I can probably push it to like 3 to 4 hours of stream, like 8 hours. I'd be streaming Persona 5 for the rest of my fucking life. And no one, like, I don't want to, like, and at that point, you become the Persona 5 streamer, and it's like, well, what if I want to play something else? And you're like, no. Gamer likes anime. The fun stops when the streamer is no longer having fun. When we choose a game, it should be with the intention of having a blast, whether you lose 1 or 1,000 times. Yes, 100%. But Tess, I'm going to kick it off to you before I keep going.
Sorry, I just elbowed my desk.
Oh no,
my bad.
Oh,
You're
not
good.
the funny bone.
The face I was making was kind of because of the fact that I was baffled that I have already found something in the game that Ed did not know was possible, because I've made it through all of like 3 seconds of gameplay today, because I had to repeat an area.
Yeah, but like I think you went left when I in an area where I went right, and I was like, oh, I never went back to do that. That's what it looks like there.
At least in that game, it's not left means murder.
I mean,
that's true.
Ironically, that's Tess was murdering people. But that's a whole different thing.
It's okay when
Uh,
she's the murderer.
Yes. Sorry.
I can commit homicide. In games.
In game. Sorry.
Yeah.
In games.
Yeah. In Roblox.
Uh, but no, this is something that is so real, and like Robert said, I do tend to rush through games compared to how I play games in my off time. Because I mean, for example, Silksong, I would have taken a lot longer with that game, just trying to figure stuff out on my own or trying to grind beads, and just like different types of like trial and error. And Elden Ring, let's go back to where I spent 130 hours in that game and never left the like initial Limgrave because I was just busy picking flowers and berries, and didn't want to deal with any of the combat stuff. Whereas this time, doing my whole run through of the game plus the DLC took around 100 hours. So there's a very stark contrast of how I play games personally and how Tess the streamer plays games. Which this is going to be something very different going into BG3 because I am going into like a totally blind playthrough. I'm not going to have as much backseating done for me as I did with Elden Ring and Silksong because of the fact that like I don't want story spoilers and I'm playing this for the story and not just for combat mode. Whereas like, you know, with Elden Ring, like while I didn't want like major story spoilers, there's, you know, until you're like proficient in the lore, you're not getting a whole lot of spoilers. Yeah. So, you know, it's just one of those things. And then with Silksong, I was actively watching other people play Silksong because I wanted to watch their reactions to all of the content that was coming out. You're playing it for the sassy silver twig. I mean, that is what grabbed my attention. But you can't tell me that romancing him is not the plot.
Unless you want the throuple with Shadowheart, I'm just saying.
New options unlocked. No, but it's like I don't want to do, which is why I struggle playing like quote unquote cozy games on stream. Like playing Animal Crossing on stream is really hard for me. One, because I have to talk a lot more with a lot less response from chat. So I actually have to have topics prepared and a very clear line of I'm doing this today and I'm not getting sidetracked. Whereas like whenever I'm in Elden Ring or I'm in Silksong or I'm in Baldur's Gate 3, the story does most of the work for you there. And the surprises that happen throughout the game does the work for you. So I can also just play Animal Crossing for like 12 hours straight too whenever I'm not streaming. Whereas like 4 hours of streaming Animal Crossing, I want to like pull my hair out because I feel like I'm boring. And also, yeah, I care about the viewer count. Like I like hanging out with you guys and talking with everyone. But when it's just me and a screen, I'm like, this is not fun for me anymore.
Not fair.
I don't think you could ever be boring, Tess. Just quietly.
Yeah. Tess can now definitely tell Radagon, Rani, I'm not even going to try. Oh, no, there's, yeah, all those were apart. That is, yep.
No, Radon.
Yeah.
Hila, Log, Godric, Godfrey,
Yeah.
and Godwin apart.
Yeah.
You cannot.
Yeah, also, I want to bring up some gamer said too. He recalls a point midstream where frustrations were being a disappointment. With being a disappointment, sapped the energy from me in chat, went on a be right back screen, came back with a renewed perspective, and when that happened, things clicked and the win came. Yeah, I think that, like, definitely can happen. And that's that's another big thing where it's like, I feel like as streamers, we can get frustrated to a point because like seeing a streamer frustrated is like funny, but it's like when it becomes like, I don't want to say actual frustration, because it's like, don't get me wrong, there's been times that I've like been frustrated on stream, but it's never been to the point where I'm like, I'm gonna hit the fucking end stream button because I don't want to deal with this like anymore at all, because like that's not fun. But like, I think ironically having that chat there also prevents, at least for me, it prevents me getting to that point where it's like, nope, I'm out. Like, I don't want to play with you anymore. Like, kind of thing. Yeah.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
Yeah. But,
I say that
That's
so
too
often
damn
in boss
bad.
fights.
yeah. But, before I, take over this, Des, I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this as well.
Oh, I don't know why I thought I did already say something in my brain, so I was kind of like, "Oh, I'm talking again. Cool."
Yeah. I was like, hold on. I was like,
was really enjoying everyone else's.
no problem.
points.
I was like, did you? I didn't have you checked off on my list. Oh dear God.
Yeah. I didn't. I just these are all really good points. I unfortunately don't do almost any of that stuff. I quite literally, when I go on to stream and play a game, it is the same. You can ask Zenos this. In private, me and stream me are one and the same, except in private, me is usually screaming someone's in my butt when I'm getting attacked instead of on stream me, where it's just like he's hurting me and that's it, and I'm scared. But you like, I made it a very big like personal deal for myself to be as like, this is what I am, regardless, like off screen and on screen. So you're going to see me being frustrated. You're going to see me be playing games that may upset me after a while. I might drop a game because it just upset me that much, and I'll come back to it at a later day and be like, oh yeah, what were we doing last time? And then the frustration PTSD will come back and I'm like, oh yeah, we were doing this. But generally speaking, like whether my viewers are enjoying it or not, or even if they're like there talking with me and they just want to see me yap for a while. I mean, Slam can attest to this. I was playing Skyrim one day. There was very few people talking to me directly. They're mostly just conversing with each other. But there was like a 45-minute segment of me just getting upset with a basket because I couldn't use it to levitate over a wall.
That was hilarious. Oh, were you trying to get it over a wall? I thought you were trying to get the lady stuck in it. It was so funny.
I had like 3 baskets and a plate, and I was standing against the wall. I'm like, okay, now I just gotta jump up and over this thing, and we're gonna skip over like 2/3 of the game now. And then it failed, and the basket rolled off the side of the mountain, and I reloaded save. Yeah, and I just saw the basket roll down the side of the mountain, and I was just like, God damn it! So, I've also soft locked myself out of games before, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I need help from the internet, and just standard shenanigans like that. Even during grindy spots, whatever, I can usually just kind of sit there and yap about whatever the heck was going on in my life. It could be completely unrelated to the stream. It could be related to whatever we were doing in game. I think at one point I had an hour conversation about my experiences at a laundromat. Very colorful individuals all show up there. But
That's talent there.
but yeah, I like to talk a lot, if you couldn't tell. So
If you're a streamer and you don't like to talk, you're in the wrong profession.
Accurate.
yeah, no, for real. But my when it, like, for me, when I saw this question, you sent it to me, Alto, I thought this topic was more about how streamers like affect how gaming is as a whole. And so I came in here with a completely different mindset for what this topic was going to be.
I mean, you could give us that. There is no wrong answer to these questions. This is not a test. Okay. You will not be graded. Your thesis does not have to be on my door tomorrow. You have until the end of the week.
Oh,
Can I get an extension and do mine next week?
but one of the major contributors for me wanting to be as authentically me as like, as a gamer to other gamers out there, even while streaming, it was to give them my honest feelings even in the moment of whatever game I'm playing. So if I'm sitting there and I'm like, this segment sucks, the big one, I don't like it. It's big stinky poo poo caca. Get out of here, game. People are like, oh, he genuinely does not like this. Understandable. It's kind of the reason why I'm not playing Sonic Heroes right now, because Team Chaotix sucks. Their whole story thing sucks. I don't want to sit there going through a speed game and looking for 36 hermit crabs, Sega. Why are you doing this to me?
I'm sensing
But
a
also,
theme.
yeah, Sega really hurts me sometimes. It's like a really bad relationship. I'm like, you guys gave me such great times and memories. Why do you keep hurting me so? But then there's also like, some games like I'll sit there and be like, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. There's some games I haven't played on stream yet because my computer can't handle it. Expecting a Yakuza Like a Dragon stream. That game is like, it made me want to go back and play Dragon Quest because apparently that game was heavily inspired, its systems from Dragon Quest. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. Also, there's dudes in diapers. I don't know what's happening here, but it's fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, no. So any game you ever hear me scream about online, whatever, is usually my own. It's not even usually. It is my own, like, pure, like, unfiltered in the moment thoughts, both the good and bad, and some of the ugly too, because I cried a lot with The Walking Dead. But the oh god, story games. But anyways, yeah, no, that game, man, that was one very, very headache-inducing night. I never sobbed so hard, even though I knew how the game ended. I still continued crying. But what's it called? Yeah, I think it's very, like, a big important thing for us as streamers and content creators, and just people who have platforms, big or small. We should always, like, let our viewers and other people, internet denizens, if you will, like, hear the good word of what's going on in the game industry, like, both good things and bad things here and there. I will sing praises for games that I think really deserve it, indie or AAA. I do not discriminate as long as your game is good. And at least it's good in my opinion at the end of the day, because everyone has their own specific things they might like or dislike in games. Me personally, I could never get past Hollow Knight. I think it's a wonderful game. I just suck. But I cannot say anything about it, quality wise, whatever, but I'm pretty sure Tess would be able to attest to that. So I think a lot of games that I can speak on, though, I will, like, make my voice heard whenever it can be, and give them, like, a non-biased, well, I should say not really non-biased, but a very honest opinion of a game. Because as much as I love to sing the praises of some of these games like Sonic Adventure 2, I will tell you, raising cows is no joke. You're going to be sitting in that garden for 72 hours if you want them to evolve. And not everyone has that time on their hands. And the time stops when you're in the middle of levels. So you're not just going to be able to, you got to sit there and listen to the song and just listen to the little babbling baby talk the entire time. And it's just like, that's not for everyone. I still think it's an incredible game, but do be warned, if you don't have free time on your hands like that, or you're not willing to leave your, like, console or computer on overnight while it's running, you're not going to see progression for a very, very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, that is a huge responsibility for us, is to give, like, that honest impression stuff. And I made it a very big point, even to Xenos, when I first started off with this. I said, if I was to ever get sponsored by a video game, I want every sponsorship to know this, that I will tell it like it is, if I like your game or not, regardless of how it is. Yeah. So if you would like to sponsor me, type of thing, it better be something that's not gaming related, and you get that, like, I can at least, be like, yeah, HelloFresh gives good food, whatever. It'd be a lot easier for me to tell you that stuff than for me to tell you Raid Shadow Legends top tier game.
Yeah.
Totally.
No,
Yeah.
I totally agree. And speaking of agreeing, our sponsor, HelloFresh, no, absolutely not.
Buy fresh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I tried HelloFresh once. It is I don't even want to go into the storyline on that, but it's the only time I've sat there. I was like, sir, I've worked in customer service, and I know what I sound like right now yelling at you, but there's absolutely no way that this is one portion meal for a human being. They sent me.
What are you telling me? This is a point inflection.
Yeah, no, I got the
Shadow
bangers and
Legends.
mash, and they sent me 2 sausages and a potato. And their instructions were, well, cut the sausage in half, and that's how you get 4 of them. I was like, no, that's not how you get 4 of them. That's how you get 2. Yeah. And they're like, yeah, a potato. And when I say potato, it was like this big. I was like, absolutely not. Like, this is not food for a human being. Like, but I digress on that. So HelloFresh will never, ever be a sponsor of this podcast. But I digress on that. But I do agree with you on a lot of things where it's like, I actually had a streaming channel before I became the Ultaholic. I used to stream only, what's the word I'm looking for? World of Warcraft with like ranked PvP, raids, and like day 1 leveling. Because I used to work with what was at the time WoW Insider, then they became like Blizzard Insider when they were bought by AOL, and I stopped playing the game. I didn't want to do like competitive stuff anymore.
That's a name I have not heard in years.
Yeah, but like I don't know if you like. I was Kajani. I ran the WoW Insider raiding guild. Like I was the raid leader, so I streamed all of the raids we did, and that was the thing. But at the time, people weren't coming to, for lack of a term, like Twitch, and I think it might have even still been Justin TV at that point, was a different place because people were coming to watch the gameplay that was happening, and they really wasn't a chat thing. Like I wasn't talking to chat. In fact, a lot of the time we even had like, you couldn't hear the communication that was happening between me and my other guild members because we were going for like server first things, and we were like, well, we don't want another team to then be able to watch us and hear what we're doing. They could just kind of see it. So like it was, it was a completely different thing. And when I was like, well, during the pandemic, I got back into, I was told, for lack of a term, no, you should try and get back into streaming. I didn't want to restart a channel that like people were expecting one thing for, so I completely created a new one. And when I did that, I was like, so I was like, cool. So I started streaming whatever the hell I wanted to at that point. And then I didn't really find like a niche for like years. But like, much like you said, Des, I think one of the big things for it is what changed for me is rather than like how I played a game or why I played a game, it was what I was talking about while playing that game. It was I wanted to sit there, and it was like, it became almost, I don't even want to say, like now I've turned my channel into more like first impressions kind of a thing. But at the same time, I wanted to, it was more like, what do I talk about with this? Why do I do these things? And like, it's weird because it's not like, none of us are small, but none of us are like large. I will say we're, schmedium, like streamers when it comes down to it. Yeah, schmedium. And like, but because of that, we still have a platform and we still have a voice, and there's still things like you said, like I didn't get any money from that company that threw out the Spindle sponsorship for me. And I was like, I don't want your money. Give me a free key for the game. And like, I just want to be able to tell it like it is. And their rule was, yeah, no problem. The only thing we ask is that you put up a, like, in addition to the Twitch stuff, you put up a YouTube thing. I was like, okay, no problem.
Yeah.
And now, mind you, I haven't heard from them since, but, like, I'm not expecting anything. But it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe just, like, throwing it out there and saying what problems I had with it, in addition to, like, what I liked about it, maybe it changes something. I'll be honest, I haven't looked into Spindle since then, but they have had patches. I'm sure there may be something in the patch notes that it was like, I don't want to say I influence, but enough influencers maybe did. And I think, like, that's what we should be doing versus give me free stuff, which unfortunately I think a lot of people who are streaming like now, they're looking for one of three things. They're looking to, oh, well, I like playing video games and I don't want to have a real job anymore, so I'll just start streaming. And it's like, buddy, like, none of us, like, I'm sure a bunch of us are getting payouts, but none of us are getting enough payouts to live off of. Like, I'm lucky if, like, my payouts pay for the next game I want to play on stream, like, every month. If it does, great. If it doesn't, also great. I'm not gonna fucking stop. But, like, you know, like, at the end of the day, I'm not Doug or Ludwig or, you know, fucking you know, Sea Dog VA. Like, yeah, like, I'm like, I can't buy a house because I play things on Twitch. Like, absolutely not. Like, I'm lucky if I could buy dinner. You know, but, like, I think even because of that, like, I think ironically, our, you know, even just our friend group when it comes to this, like, when it comes to, like, the size of us and it comes to, like, what we say about it, I feel like that almost matters. I don't want to say matters more, but, like, when I go into a sponsored stream from a larger streamer, they may actually be enjoying the game, but I have absolutely no idea if they really are, because I don't know how much Blizzard Entertainment paid this streamer to play Diablo 4. Because as someone who has played a Blizzard game, for lack of a better term, semi-professionally, I can tell you there is money to be made playing those games. At least there was. You know, but when a large company sees you playing some, they're going to sit there and be like, we'll give you X amount of money, and you say this. And when it's your livelihood, you're going to say that. You know, and like like you said, Des, I don't ever want it to be something where it's like, I don't want my voice to be used for something where it's like, hey, I actually like this game. I don't want you to pay me off to say something like, you know, Raid Shadow Legends. Like, I don't know. Everyone knows it's a meme. I have no idea what fucking Raid Shadow Legends is. I don't want to download Raid Shadow Legends. I know it's the game no one actually wants to play, but everyone and their mother apparently has played it and loves it, even though you've never seen it anywhere. But that's a whole different, you know, issue in and of itself. But, like, it's interesting because, like, sometimes I sit there and I go, I don't want to play this on stream anymore because I may be enjoying it, but maybe, like, is it actually entertaining? Like I said, Metal Gear Solid Delta was a game that I streamed once, and it's a game, people. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad game. It is a interesting storyline. I still, to this day, don't know what the fuck's going on with most of it. The gameplay is fun, but there is so much over-the-top cutscene and storyline that I feel like I need one of those murder boards to piece together, that I sit there and go, I don't... The entire time we were doing we were playing it, I feel like everyone, including me in the chat, was just, Does anyone understand what's happening? Can someone explain it to me? No, I can't explain it to you either. Yep, that guy did just, shoot lightning out of his fists. How'd that happen? Don't know, but I gotta do a sneak mission now. Ugh.
Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm a huge like Metal Gear lore head. So the second you said that, I was like, I know the fuck you're taking.
Yeah, and I wish you were there, because maybe we would have played it twice on stream, because I finished the game off stream because I was like, hey, you know what? Metal Gear's it's a fun little series. I will never stream it again, because if someone asked me what happened in that game, I would sit there and be like, I shot people because they were bad, but they weren't, but they might have been, and also I may have been, but not. But the stealth mechanics are fun. So yeah. Revolver Ocelot spinning that revolver for 2 minutes straight is so legendary. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It is a spectacle. But I don't think that that's one of those things where it's I can never stream this shit again. And I don't mean shit and it's a bad game. I mean shit and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of games that I find Kojima's very notorious for this in this regard, but there's a lot of games where they are very lore dependent, and you need to know the stuff prior and sometimes even in the future of the franchise and from weird spin-off stuff to understand what the heck was even going on in the first place. Thankfully, not every company does what Kojima does in that regard, but there's enough of them out there where it's just oh yeah, so that thing is important because 3 games ago in a spin-off comic that you had to go find through an ARG that no longer exists, this small interaction happened, and now it's a huge thing in this game that we're now playing as our first entry game to the series. And the game itself will never explain that to you. There's a lot of games like that, and there was a YouTube video I watched a very long time ago, and it's a very similar thing with lore-based movies and regular non-lore-based movies where the movie's only really good because you understand the lore behind everything else with it. There's some games that are like that are just not friendly for streamers a lot of the time, for streaming as a person is a blind playthrough type of deal. And I feel unfortunately they don't come with a little label that tells you you need to learn all these other things first before you can play this on them. So you as the streamer is you're going into it and you're I'm gonna play Metal Gear Solid Delta. It's gonna be a cool time. The game looks great, it's got nice reviews. You get into the game and man shooting lightning out of his hands, and you're who the heck is that guy, and what's that going on over there, and what's a liquid snake? And a solid one, and a naked snake?
Yeah. You're learning there was more than one snake. I was I thought they were all the same fucking guy. No? Okay, great.
There's 5 of them.
Yeah. But, we could do an entire... Well, you know what? Now I need your dissertation on Metal Gear so I know what the fuck I'm doing when I start playing, the next... Metal Gear game, because I will be buying the more of them. But yeah, I just it's just really, like I said, I appreciate all your comments on it, because it's just really interesting to me, because we all have different reasons why we started streaming and what we do and what our channels even do. But also I just I wanted this topic up there because if this helps one person think about getting into the hobby, and I'm specifically calling streaming a hobby. Yes, you may get paid, but do not go into thinking about it as a job. You'll know when it'll become a job. It probably never. And I'm not saying that to discourage anyone, because you got to go into this for the right reasons. And the right reason is you actually want to do it. You don't want to make money, because this is not an easy fucking thing to do. It's not just playing games and talking to people. It's all the other parts of the content creation that no one talks about, and the people who are making money, they're probably spending just as much on their teams of people to keep them making that much money. So just have fun, people.
They want us to spend. They want us to spend it on AI art generation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the job of the streamer. We gotta
Yeah,
deal with
there's-
those guys.
Oh, that yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Again, there will be a
Hi
topic.
guys, I'm really sorry. My dog's at the vet having a seizure. I need to go. Bye.
Oh no! Oh my
Oh,
God!
no.
Of course, Slam. We hope everything's all right.
Oh my god, okay. I hope the dog gets well.
Yeah.
And is not, you know,
The dog, it's something the dog goes through occasionally.
yeah,
The dog
seizuring anymore.
with having to go to the vet with some stuff like this. So
Understand. Well,
Oh, okay.
Slam, if you're listening to this in
Still
the
very
future, we hope everything is okay. And if you need anything, you know how to reach out to all of us. But we're going to move on to our next topic. Sorry, I'm going to need a minute. That was, like we said, we hope everything's all right. And that is paid early access. Because early access used to just mean it's an unfinished game. And now I feel like it just means expensive. So I feel like this could be fairly short topic that will then transition into, things when it comes to like launches and things of that nature. But how do you all feel when it comes to early access and it being the new thing? Zeno, I'm going to start with you.
I don't know. See, like early access for me, it's like it really depends on the type of game, I guess. I don't know, like a lot of games that get the early access treatment are like your Call of Duties, your multiplayer games. You get the occasional like, oh, you can play it a day early or something, right? But like there are people who, I mean, I guess it's mostly content creators and streamers that get it, where like they're able to play it weeks or months in advance, if not like, sorry, weeks, sometimes months in advance,
Yeah.
depending on how easy it is for them to pull it out. But like, games like if GTA comes out, right, or when GTA comes out, not even if,
Not if.
we know
Yeah.
that there's already going to be hundreds of people playing that game before. Just knowing the way that the market works and how they're going to want to advertise that and make sure that they get the maximum day one payout from that. So they're going to want to get pay as many people as possible to play that game ahead of time. Now there's that type of early access, and there's like the early access where it's like, hey, you wanna buy this, like, and then you could play it early, but here, give us an extra like $20-$30. Anthem. They're like, yeah, but like, no, you're paying for the cosmetic thing, the bundle thing, which most people didn't get, mind you. Big blunder on BioWare for that one. But people got early access to that game quite a bit earlier than the servers went live. And it can either create a huge gap in player ability because you have these new players coming in that these old players don't want to mess with. They're like, oh no, we're early access. We already knew how to play this game. And then you have the people who get that early access completely, like they get a good idea of what the game is about, and they're like, I don't like this game. They make a bad review or whatnot, and that can completely tank a game before it's even started. And then you'll find out later on that people love that game. They're like, oh my god, this game is great. Why were people hating on it, right? And that may be just a personal opinion of you hating the game, but at the same time, it's like how do you determine whether a game's going to be good before, like when you play it ahead of time versus how everybody's going to react to how the game's played, right? I'm trying to
A
think of
little
examples.
cut in here real quick, Senis.
Go ahead.
Just to like bring up, because someone brought it up in chat. Like early access games are not always just like the stuff that are given out for like, media previews or whatever. Like gaming journalists usually get games like a week in advance or whatever. And sometimes content creators, but like Power World is an early access game, and so is like Hades 2 when it first was released on Steam was early access. So there are more public ones, of course, out there, but there's also ones that are really notorious, like Daisy, for example. and I would really like to hear your thoughts on those games as well, and not just the upcoming from with the whole like, they get a bad review, it tanks it early, and then the game does poorly and it gets abandoned and it's bad.
About getting to that there.
Okay, sorry.
So the whole thing was I was just comparing the two things, because essentially, like, there are people who say, like, this early access, but then there's these games like Pile World, like you mentioned, Daisy. I would have, if I remember correctly, somebody was saying that Fortnite also technically counts as early access.
I think at one point, I don't know if it can be considered early access now.
I thought that was how they were getting away with constantly collabing.
There's a difference between the Fortnites. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
well, because there's Fortnite Save the World, which is the early access game.
Yeah, because that's what it is. Yeah. There's like certain sections of it are considered early access for what essentially.
Yeah, the battle royale was never meant to be a thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's just like a little fun side.
Things like Pal World, I believe even Terraria at one point was in early access for a long time before they got their full updates. What's another one I'm thinking? There's one that's right on the tip of my tongue. I'm trying to remember what it is. It's still currently going.
Well, I mean that's the
Stars
big thing again. Not to cut in. Like that's one of the reasons I wanted to like have this conversation, because the amount of games I think that are in early access, that have been in early access for a while, are just I feel like it's going to be like so more like, I know someone pointed out like Hades 2, they did early access the right way, and I don't disagree, but like Path of Exile 2, VR Chat, Schedule 1, BeamNG, No Rest for the Wicked, Pal World, Ark Survival, Repo, every single one of those things is like an early access game. And it's like, at what point do we just sit there and be like, stop? Like, at what point does early access stop and 1.0 exist? Because like, look, I haven't played in a little bit. I want to get back into it. I would, there's just not enough time in the day. But like, look, I've said it multiple times, and I know like to like Xeno and Des, where it's like, I want to get out, or I want to get back into Pal World. I did not realize Pal World was still in early access, because what the hell could they possibly be? I don't even want to say adding, where it's like, at what, like, it feels finished, and not like, I'm not saying they can't add things onto it later on. It can still be a living game without having to be live service. Pal World, if you ever go live service, I will hunt you down. But like, it made a good point. Like there's so many of they made enough money with the promise of a game that will never exist. Like, that's the problem, where I'm like, there's so many of these other early access games that you sit there and go like, oh, what's the one that a Star Citizen. The amount of money that game has made, and it just sits there and it's like, oh, no. It'll come out. I promise. No, if Star Citizen comes out, I will be the first person to buy it, because I am going on record right now that game is never going to come out, because it doesn't need to. How many millions of dollars has Star Citizen made on a tech demo?
Several hundred. I had this whole argument with a friend of mine in Discord like a few weeks back. We were talking about really bad early access games. So like, this is a really fresh topic in my mind already. I'm like, I already know a lot of these things, like discussion wise.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Star Citizen was like almost. It's the most expensive game to ever be developed right now.
Theoretically.
And it's not even.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because can
but
we
like
call it a
theoretically
game?
still being developed. Yeah.
Yeah. And development. I think what was the last quote unquote big pack? Because I didn't back the game, but I love just reading about it. Like the last big development, they sat there and they were like, yeah, we updated like the texture on like the way that like doors close and open, like for like, and you're just like, are you fucking serious? Like, please stop. Like, you're not helping. Like, no. You have to understand our door closing engine is the best in the business. It's like I can't. And like Zeno, I'm sorry. I know we've jumped in on this a lot, but like I don't know if you have more to add to this because I feel like this could just turn into a rant session if we keep going.
Yeah, I was just gonna just connect the 2 points from my original first point was that's why it's important to have integrity when talking about video game reviews, especially if you are getting first views on that game. Because
Yeah.
if a game like you're reviewing ends up staying in early access, like with Star Citizen and all the people who reviewed it before that came out, then you end up with a game that's getting bolstered by word of mouth for the company to make a bunch of money. And unfortunately, they don't really ever have to have a reason to finish the game.
Yeah.
They can just keep minutely updating it until maybe it's in a finished state. But on the other hand of end of the coin, there are games where like I'm going to make a huge laundry list of things to add to this game, like No Man's Sky. They're still adding stuff.
Yeah.
Still adding stuff. New updates coming in a month, or actually, I think it already happened. So I don't even know.
Yeah, and like, yeah, Tess, we're gonna throw it over to you next because we can. But like, yeah, no, I think that's like the biggest thing that like we can talk about, and I do apologize, my meds are wearing off a little bit. We need like there needs to be a difference between this being a development thing with early access and, for lack of a better term, a money laundering thing.
Yeah. Which, on that point, great segue, because there's a big difference between the money laundering and indie game studios who need large beta tested, money backed, feedback to be able to launch a full game, because you got to keep the lights on while you're fixing the bugs. And Tess explains her money laundering system. Hey, if I could launder money, I would not be doing this.
Is what someone would say if this is how they launder money.
So today, on the podcast, I have been okayed for money laundering and murder. The FBI is going to show up at my door.
That's the crime lord.
Right? Who knew?
Are you doing racketeering too?
I didn't.
You have protection services going on? Sorry.
No, it's okay. So...
Yeah. I'm actually being held hostage in Tessa's basement. It's why I use a green screen. Send help.
They're all in my basement. No, okay. So, like Panda was saying in chat, there's Palia and Fields of Mystria, which are two really big, indie games that have used the, they're still in early access. Palia has their, premium store, and that's how they get their, money backing to still be in beta. Even though they're releasing new content pretty much quarterly now, they still don't have, a packaged game that is paid because it's close to online service, but also not online service.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know how to quite explain like the technicality there for Palea, but whenever it did start out as online service exclusively because I was one of the early beta testers for Palea. And when I came back to like the Steam downloaded version, I was like, whoa, this isn't buggy at all. You can actually like render into the next world really easily. Uh, which was kind of shocking for me coming back to it like a couple years later and seeing how much content they had really sunk into it since the beta tester days. Sorry, what? And then where
that otherwise. Yeah.
sorry. Whereas Fields of Mystria has been in early access for a year and a half, and they're going to be doing their official drop this year. And Fields of Mystria, I think, has done really well with how they did early access because the game's $15. It's, got a lot of content. It's got enough content that where if they were to release the full version now, I think it would satisfy me for $15. But I'm excited to see them finish the storylines for everything. And then there's Disney Dreamlight Valley, which
That's early access?
Disney Dreamlight Valley originally came out and said that they were going to release the game as free to play.
Oh, right.
And that you could pay to play early access. And then once they started adding the DLC, rolled that back really quickly, and they were like, just kidding. You have to pay for the game. And then on top of that, you can pay for the premium items in our shop, and you can pay for the DLC, and you have to pay for it on every other console. You can't have cross-console play unless you pay for the game on each system.
That's
Now, did
dumb.
I do all of those things? Yes. Am I still mad about it? Also, yes.
Yeah.
This money. Exactly, gamer. And I mean, I know that we're all shocked here that Mr. Mouse is a money-hungry...
Oh.
Well, again, not to defend Disney, I wonder too if, because I'm sure they had a word on it. I wonder if do they own Gameloft, the developer and publisher, or no?
They do now.
Oh, okay. Because I was gonna say, or is that a Gameloft thing? Because if I'm the CEO of Gameloft and I'm sitting there going, "Hey, our biggest cash cow is about to go free to play, but so many people are still buying it. Maybe we roll that back to keep the lights on." And by lights on, I mean give me another yacht.
Yeah. Well, and
Yeah.
basically. But whenever it started out, the game, whatever, the studio was not owned by Disney, but it got subsidized by Disney very quickly. Yeah, well, and that's what happened, Robert, was they had access to some of the IPs, but they were not owned by Disney. And so it was like paid early access, and then Disney bought them, and all of a sudden it was like, just kidding, give me your money forever. And then here's more things for you to give me your money for. So.
Yeah.
And
I'm just shocked they bought a game studio, considering they closed so many down.
Yeah, well, and they've added, I think, 2 or 3 games through that studio.
Yeah. Because that's the whole thing. I looked up Gameloft because I was like, I don't know what they have done before. And it's like, oh, Asphalt. They're the people who did like Asphalt.
Yeah. I was like, I know for a fact because I started off as a mobile gamer and they made a lot of mobile games.
Yeah.
And it was... Yeah.
Lots.
Yep.
Well,
Dungeon
and you can
Hunter,
get Disney
pretty
Dreamlight
great.
Valley on your iPad.
Yep.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Honestly, the second you brought up the game, I was like, my brain was just immediately going like, I can hear Slam rapidly approaching your location.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and which is funny because that's how Slam and I connected, was through DDB. After I met Francie and Panda and Auntie and Slam and everyone else in this community, like a nice little domino. But Slam and I were like DDLV.
Oh.
So
Yeah, Slam got that Disney stock. Look, as someone who may or may not also have that Disney stock, it's not bad to hold on to. But we could still talk
Correct.
bad about the company.
correct.
But
They're not paying
you
us.
know, it's-
yeah, no, not anymore. I mean,
Not
well,
anymore.
we don't need to talk about how I make money. But Des, what about you? Your thoughts on early access? I know you said a little bit, but I didn't know if you had anything else before we moved on.
Oh, yeah, I got a little here. So like some points to like kind of like roll back to for a second when me and you were having our little like moment about Star Citizen and other games. Because yeah, Star Citizens is nuts for being for that long in early access, and Daisy's another one that kind of does it. And I'm pretty sure it was Gamer, but correct me if I'm wrong. Someone else in chat might have said it. That it could have been Panda too. I don't know. Anyways, basically a lot of the like companies will go ahead and put themselves in early access to get away with crummy game design and just pushing out more or less the equivalent of like shovelware or whatever at that point. And it's you know, it's kind of crummy whatever. Specifically Daisy was known for doing this for such a long time, and quoting an actual patch notes I saw on it like back in 2016, when a lot of the community was mad at them because you couldn't even find like a can of beans in the starting area, so you would just starve to death every time you got into the game basically. Their response was making games as hard. Sad face.
Yeah. There's no excuse for the way that vanilla runs in that game, and the fact that they left it up to the rest of the community to sort of fix that for them was just sort of like, still that's not looking good for an early access game. I like the concept. It's cool, but damn.
It is a cool concept, but it's really, really poorly executed. And Hades 2, and to a slightly lesser extent, but also still in the same category in my mind, at least how I've been looking at it, Power World, kind of do early access in a way that I'm okay with. Hades 2 specifically does it better, but Power World, I give them some leeway because, you know, not only are they an indie studio that made this game, but they're also getting sued.
Yeah.
So like,
They're getting their
you know,
pants
credit
off.
where credits due. I'll give them a little leniency on how long it's taken them to finish the game. Which also the reason for why it's taking them so long to even hit 1.0, which they're planning to do sometime in like fall of this year, is because there's this whole big tree island area that's supposed to be like double the size of like the newest island expansion, Faybreak, which, as Xenos has been exploring, is massive. And we'll finally get our final like boss there, and they'll give us some more of the lore stuff that'll fully complete like the story and everything. Because it's got a very interesting like story that's been running in the background, and weird time travel shenanigans and alien invasions and stuff too. And I was like, this game is a lot more than they thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought it was just
didn't even know it
Pokemon,
had a
but
story.
American edition. Yeah, it's weird. Everyone thought it was gonna be Pokemon with guns, and they're like, actually no, cool story stuff with things like sacrifice and wrestling with the like mental complexities of being immortal not by choice, and like living up to expectations and stuff, and lots of other very adult themed stuff, as well as weird other things. Like there's a police officer in that game that was isekai'd, and he can now summon pizzas, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, cool. Weird game, but definitely has like some spots that they need to finish working on, whatever. And it does feel like a very complete game, which is why I completely understand where you're coming from with that, Alto, when it was like, you know, get it out of early access at this point. But I do know that at least from looking at all the lore stuff from both the PAL Dex entry stuff and the like little lore books you could pick up and read and talk to the NPCs, whatever. The main story of the game itself with the tower bosses and all that stuff hasn't been completed yet. So I'm assuming, like, from what it looks like, they're just waiting to finish that off, and then once it's done, they'll be like, all right, we're getting out of early access. And at least for me, because I was really excited about this game coming out since I heard about it like a year or two before it even released on Steam, they were giving the game away for like $10 when it initially launched for like a week. So I was like, oh, great, perfect, deal, whatever. I heard on console though, it's like almost $50, which is nuts because on Steam today it's still only like $30, which is in Canadian at least. So I'm like, that's, usually that's a lot more for us over here, and it's like 25 for Americans. So I was like, okay, this is not too badly priced, whatever, especially since I played a lot of other early access games that will try to sell it to me for $60, Daisy. So,
yeah.
Or Our Citizen or Escape from Tarkov, who are like, give us $100 for your game, and for a game that's not gonna ever get done, and we're gonna make very questionable decisions on it. To the point where the game that you initially invested in by buying it for that like $90 or whatever, or $80 or $60, whatever, that was early access, is no longer the same game that you're getting now. There's games that I've bought that are early access, like, Hades 2 and Power World, where it's just like, yeah, this is the same game and I'm still happy with how it's turned out. And luckily Pocket Pair has went on record to say like, hey, yeah, the money that they've made from the massive sales they've gotten from Power World went into funding, becoming like a production studio more or less at this point, where they're helping fund other indie developers make games. So it's kind of like, he's helping indies at this point. And I think that's a very admirable thing to happen. And they do take some, like, what's it called, feedback into account as well, because when the game first initially launched, I was telling this to Xenos and a lot of my viewers when I was streaming the game, you could bug out the game and catch the bosses with the NPC on them in the back, and it was like a whole bugged mechanic thing. Same thing with just catching a bug thing, and then then they made them into actual features now, where you can actually like train up humans to be strong to fight for you and stuff, with like giving them like proper special moves, and they can even have some passives, as Xenos is finding out. And a lot of the tower bosses, you can now find them outside of the boss arena, and you can talk to them and do special quests and missions, and you can
that's cool.
give you them as like an actual companion. Yeah. And so they're actively hearing things and seeing that people are liking. Yeah, sorry, continue.
No, I was just gonna just add that they also said that is my mic fine?
Yeah, no, you're good.
It's delayed.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah.
They also said that like even after 1.0 drops, that they have tons of plans for more shit. So it's gonna be quite a ride for the next few years, even with 1.0, right? They said, yeah, that's not the end. That's just the end of the current like thing. Like the tree isn't like the end of the game. We're not done with the game after this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's.
Which I mean, it's a given. There's a lot of features that they could definitely add. Menu stuff. I mean, a lot of it I think is really just get your laundry list done. Don't just add like small update. That's why we got like Terraria. We got the Faybreak update. The home update. So like they roll out large amounts of content at a time too when they're doing their updates.
Yeah. And I feel like
the Kill collab was nuts.
Yeah. And I feel like we could talk on this for God knows how long. But I think all of us agree when it comes down to it, where it's like, I think early access is fine as long as you actually finish and release something. When it comes to, again, something along the like again, I just didn't realize Power World was still in early access. I thought it was a full and complete game because it feels like one, but like when you have something like, when, like, again, not to go back to Star Citizen too much, but when you have something like Star Citizen that was announced and kickstarted in 2012, which is now claiming it is going to try and release in 2028, but their single-player spin-off should be released in 2026. Girl, why are you putting in a single-player spin-off? Finish the game people paid for first. Which, by the way, that single-player spinoff also is never coming out. I'm throwing it out here for legal reasons.
No.
This is not a joke. That game is never coming out. But I feel like this also ties pretty good into our last topic, which is launch memories. Now, I know some of us may have not been around for a lot of game launches and things like that, but, you know, we've had console launches. We technically still have launches to this day, even though they are a little bit different. But you know, as the grandpa gamer of the group, you know, launches used to be like a communal thing, and I just really wanted to hear some either stories or, you know, like reminiscing about like what were launches for like you guys, or what is like one of your favorite launch memories. I was going to start with Zeno, but he went away. So Tess, I'm going to start with you, because yeah, no, you're good, Zeno. We'll get you next.
Oh.
Well, and this is something that whenever you first brought up this topic, I was like, you know, I don't really have these except for Silksong and Tears of the Kingdom. Those are the only two that I've ever played like on launch day. And you know, it's not quite as exciting as it used to be, where you would go to the store and physically like see other people that were also excited about the game and get the physical copy. It's more of like a download, and then I also hop on Twitch and I'm like, hey, who else is playing this game? And pros and cons to both of those. But especially now that I'm streaming, it's really exciting to be the person that is getting to experience these things along with everyone else on like the receiving side. And whereas like prior, like for Tears of the Kingdom, like I had my streamer that I went morning of, like I knew they were going to be on at 8 a.m. their time. And so I was ready with my Switch downloaded. So I had my setup and they were on the TV and we played the game together all day long. Obviously, they don't know that.
Should we tell Point Crow?
But that's one of the really cool things about like also being a streamer was like whenever Silksong came out, like a lot of people were playing it with me and getting to like talk about that, and then also getting to go watch gamers Silksong streams like right after was such a good time and just a completely different experience than me just being like tee in my dog bed, human-sized dog bed, with my Switch, watching Point Crow play. And
oh wait, it really was Point Crow? Awesome.
yeah, it really was Point Crow. It's kind of like Point Crow recently did his 100% Tears of the Kingdom run for the first time in 2025. I made both my mother and my partner watch parts of that because I was like, I'm not missing this, so you guys are stuck with it too. So I had to explain to my mother why I was watching a grown man sleep on stream live with his goldfish in the background. What a weird moment for Zeno to get on.
Oh, tortellini.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, tortellini.
Absolutely.
Pour one out for that fish.
Who also beat Elden Ring before I did.
Yeah.
The fish, not the man.
Oh, that's...
I'm gonna stop now.
That's a wonderful story. Thank you so much for that, Tess. And no, I think it's a great perspective because, like, let's be real. You know, that's kind of what launches are turning into now. Like, we could say that they're not as communal, but thankfully with, like, things like Twitch and Discord and things of that nature, we still can have those experiences. But Zeno, I was going to start with you, and now you're back, so, go. Sorry, my brain just stopped. Yeah.
I had a few down, but I was like, thinking, like launch memories, like memories we had at launch, or memories of a game that was launched. I'm just sort of in between the two topics here. That's a good one. That's a really good one. I feel like Des would remember some of these. Whoa, and we got a raid on Alto.
Oh, thank you
Maybe we
so
should deal with
much,
that for
Professor.
Look at that.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, guys. We've got a couple more topics left on our podcast, and we really appreciate it. So thank you so much. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to Zeno. Like,
Go to Des. Go to Des. Go to Des.
yeah, I'm gonna go to Des now.
Oh, my.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So I like Xenos was very fortunate. I feel like Xenos has this experience too, at least to a degree. But me and Xenos, because of our ages, we're in a very fortunate position where I got to experience both the, I guess, for lack of a better word, the traditional launch experience. You know, like waiting outside with people in like a huge line, whatever. Or sometimes like the night before and stuff like that, and the experience of like just, you know, pre-ordering the game online and installing it and be like, okay, cool, I'm gonna play this now. For me, I actually have like 3 of these because I was only ever able to do 3 of these. For my more more traditional, like the olden days when we had to take horse and buggies to the electronic boutique game store at the Ye Olde Mall gathering place. I went over there and I got a copy because, you know, who in their right mind should be giving a 10-year launch with my uncle, because as a what's it called, as a African American man, it was cool to see Black Samurai guy, and I was like, oh, cool. And Samuel L. Jackson was in there, so, you know, there was just it was destined to be good times. But I got a little minifigure with it too, and I had that thing for so many years. It's actually still somewhere in my closet, funny enough, next to like some Funko Pops I have. So, and a Starscream Transformer in there. So it was definitely a really good memory for me, but it also was not the same standard like memory that most people would have, because for a lot of people they had to wait outside and, you know, do all that rigmarole. Whereas my uncle was friends with the franchisee owner of that location, so we got snuck in through the loading dock area.
Oh, nice.
And he just gave us the stuff, and he's like, "Happy birthday, kid!" And I was like, "Oh, thanks." So, that, and then I got like a free T-shirt for like Saints Row and some other like pre-order old content, like old pre-ordered stuff that was never picked up, whatever. Like, I got tarot cards for Persona,
oh my God.
and like a blow-up doll of Teddy from Persona 4 specifically.
Nice.
Yeah. It was a whole shenanigans with that. But in more recent years, as a full-fledged adult with full-fledged adult money, I was able to buy my first ever like on launch game. Unfortunately, it was not a very good game on launch, and that was Borderlands 3. One of my friends was like, "You got to play this with us." We all pre-ordered it, and I was like, "Okay." So I bought it on Epic Games. Mistake number 1, which came with the season pass and all that stuff. But when I got the game and I started playing it, I was running it on a computer that's worse than my current one. So performance-wise, it was like playing with a slideshow, but due to my friends being really happy to play with me, I kind of suffered through 10 frames per second and 1 frame per second in the big explosion things, which was almost all the time. So that was something. But the game also had like a lot of game-breaking bugs and issues as well. And I think one of the things that really made launches a bit more not a thing I wanted to partake in too much anymore was the fact that in more recent years, games have been coming out more and more buggy than before. Where did Xenos go?
He's still here.
1 second.
I think.
I'm here.
I was gonna say
they messed up on me.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. But yeah, no,
I've got the
launch games
participants
have become
still
a
up.
lot more hit or miss.
Yeah,
There
no.
we go.
Yeah. The launch stuff though has become a lot more hit or miss, and you can definitely either get like a really good game on launch, like I did with Power World, because when that game first came out, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna buy it immediately, and then start playing it, and it was a fantastic time with a couple bugs here and there, but mostly enjoyable bugs. And then there was Borderlands, where it was like just not a good time altogether because the bugs were constantly crashing like my computer and stuff. But I think that also attributes to my PC just being bad. But I did hear from my friends who did have better computers than
No,
me,
yeah, I totally understand, and that's
which like at the time was like, yeah.
yeah, launch is getting better. I think is
So it's
hopefully happening.
yeah, it's one of those things where I just hope launch games could become more of a like, yeah, if you get it on launch, you're getting like a functioning game. I don't even need it to be fully completed yet. Just make it functional. As long as it works, I will be like, I'll make that compromise with the game with the game industry. Just make it work, please. That's all.
Yeah.
And I'll have a good time with that. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's my whole take on that.
love that. I want to just point out something Ritter said in the chat. I always saw the videos on TV from people in the U.S. sleeping in tents in GameStop before launch, and I wish people in Germany were as passionate. Let me tell you, as someone who may have been at a midnight launch or two, they're fun the first time. And as long as it's not winter in the United States. Gamers, GTA 6 has potential to be a huge launch, both in person and online. I think I don't disagree. I think online is probably going to be bigger for it. And it's interesting, too, because, for the first time, Zeno, I'm going to let you close us out, because one of the stories, I have when it comes to launch memories, that I, because I was thinking about doing, I did the console launch of the Wii and the Xbox 360 with, my roommates when I was in college, and we, skipped class that day, and we were like, no, we're going to buy this, and that's what we, it was just a lot of fun. But I think possibly my favorite launch memory is being, ironically, outside in a GameStop, not in a tent, but being outside in a GameStop with I was in grad school, and it's me, and it was 5 other frat brothers, and we all were buying the Wrath of the Lich King expansion for World of Warcraft. And it was the greatest moment of our lives, because we sat there and we're going to get the game at midnight, we're going to go home, we're going to install it, we're going to try to get online. But when I tell you, we had a projector screen that we pulled down that had a map of Azeroth on it. And we were like, all right, here is the plan for the night. Who's going to get up to this? Who's creating the Death Knight? Who's doing the... And we had a full party thing going on. We had the stereotypical, buy a shit ton of snacks and a whole bunch of Mountain Dew and things of that nature. We're like, we are not going to go to sleep until we, raid, Northrend. We are gonna go. And if those of you who don't remember back in the day, or I should say, if you've never played, what's the word I'm looking for? A game at that time, the servers were beyond terrible. Half of the game was trying to get in to play the game. You were fighting with, millions of people. At that point, I think when we bought, I know at one point during Wrath of the Lich King, they had 12 million active players. And I think at the launch, it was something along the line of 8 to 9 million people playing World of Warcraft. Now imagine approximately 8 to 9 million people all trying to log in at the same time. It did not go well, but it was the most fun I have ever had. And I will never forget that memory. Also, I see that Slam has potentially returned, but she looks like she's on mobile. So if you are back, or if you want to say anything, hello.
Hi, I'm so sorry. I'm so
No.
sorry about that. But yes, I am back.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, it is. My dog now has anxiety medication for the vet.
Hey, fair. That's all. At the end of the day, that is the most important thing. We just wanted to make sure you and all of
Yeah.
your furry family were taken care of.
I'm still shaking, but I think she's okay.
No problem. Well, again, I'm not going to tell you to take anxiety medication, but you do have some.
Yeah. I won't take my dog, but I have my own.
Yeah. But you came in, Zeno. I know we would love to hear your thing, but Slam, just to let you know, we are at the launch memory section of our topic list.
I'm so excited about this one.
But Zeno, I will pass it on over to you before we pass it back over to Slam. You're muted, my friend.
Muted. I'm muting. Thank you. Awesome. I noticed the red when I was like leaned back. So the fondest memory of launch would probably be it would be Pokemon Emerald and like Pokemon Fire Red. Like just from like an actually getting the game when it came out, the day it came out, maybe even I would say, I don't know, the week maybe. But I got the Game Boy Advance SP. The but at the time it was like there was only two colors. There was the silver and I think there was a pink at the time. And then they had recently come out with like the pearl blue and like this other, I think it was like a pearl red or something like that. But yeah, I had gotten that right first day one. First time I'd ever touched a Game Boy outside of a Game Boy Color. So it was like a jump from Advance to like SP, which was like super colored, bright screen, great sound. But other than that, I think that like the main thing that I got was like my PS5 was
Mm.
like I got it day one. I managed to get it day one, and that was like for me it was an accomplishment because at the time, as most of you probably know, even now it's still pretty scarce to find one in certain places. I was lucky that 11 at that local GameStop, and I think the last one would be Sparking Zero, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. Great launch. Haven't played it in months since because I have played the game a total of 4 times because they kept corrupting my data.
Mm.
So I just don't. But yeah, I mean, fondest memory would probably be that, and like the Halo 2 days. Even if it wasn't at launch, but if you got a hold of Halo 2 and you had enough controllers and you had enough friends, you had a good time.
Amen to
Des
that.
knows we have.
Jerry rigging all the Xboxes together with the TVs in the backyard. That was something.
But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for me there on that. Very fun, but yeah.
That's amazing. Also, hello,
Thank you.
Hero. Hello, Pope. Good to see you. We are getting to the end of our podcast, but before we do our critical hits and misses and our closing thoughts, Slam is going to give us her favorite launch memory.
Yay! I am so excited about this one. I used to work for a game store. So I have a lot of memories, and I've been trying to think of which one would be my favorite, and I've decided I think my favorite launch memory has to be Batman Arkham City. I got to dress up as Catwoman. My coworker dressed up as Harley Quinn, and so we were dressed up for the launch. That was so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That is amazing.
It's a crazy place to work, but I absolutely loved it because we used to be. Because I also used to be a cosplayer, so it was fun to bring some of that to work with me.
That's so fun.
Yeah. So cosplay stream when? is what we're
Yeah, I was
hearing.
like, new
Slam.
slam
Oh.
lore. Slam lore unlocked. Where'd you so
Slam
hard?
gave that up a while ago. I used to love it though, but I think one of the other launch memories I think that was kind of a toss-up was one of the I can't remember specifically which one, unfortunately, but it was one of the Pokemon games, and this one particularly sticks out because the company said we're like Pokemon's not a big enough game to do a midnight launch. Now midnight launches are so much fun, as Alpha was saying earlier. And so we had to like campaign with all of our customers for a couple of months to like be like, if you guys pre-order, then we can have a midnight launch and have a massive party. And it was just there was a lot of bribing, but we managed to get enough pre-orders that we were able to get that midnight launch. But it was like a team effort, and I think that's kind of cool that the whole and it was like the whole city of stores teamed up for it as well. It wasn't just one store. So it was actually a lot of camaraderie.
Oh, that is awesome. And speaking of bribing, Slam, we have a bunch of people who want to be like you when they grow up. And, but again, to go back on the bribing thing, how many subscribers do we need to get you for you to do the cosplay stream?
I think we need a computer that can handle a camera to start with, so we'll
Not-
get there.
So you heard
One
it
thing at
here,
a time.
folks. We just have to get Slam a camera. Yeah.
I'll make a sub goal. That actually would be fun.
Yeah.
I don't
Perfect.
know yet.
And then we don't need to talk
Nice.
about that Arkham City release in 2011. 2011 was last weekend.
Agreed.
I haven't worked for that company for a while.
Yeah.
They actually closed down last month, so I'm a little bit sad about that.
Ooh.
I was,
Oh, Robert, no, don't tell me that.
I got old again.
Yeah, I was like, I'm old.
Yeah.
I thought I did the math when I saw the number, and I was like,
I,
God,
you just broke my brain. So before we end our podcast, we're going to do our section of critical hits and critical misses. For those of you who've never been here before, a critical hit is one good thing from the last month in gaming, and a critical miss is one bad thing in gaming. So while I go get some Ben Gay for my back after that last comment about a chatter being 8 in 2011, I'm going to pass it on over to Zeno. And why don't you tell us what your critical hits and misses are for this month?
we'll start with the hit. I think honestly, just the accomplishments I've been getting, like mostly just off stream, just getting certain things structured and done. Sort of what Slam was saying earlier with preparing some stuff and writing it down and being like, okay, what are we gonna do this stream today? Having a goal, those types of things. Just trying to get back to myself and reorient the way I do things and not try to burn myself out every week. My menace in gaming, this is more related to gaming, is Sony shut down Blue Point.
Yeah, that was today, wasn't it? Or was it yesterday?
I believe I heard it today, so I don't know if it was news from yesterday that I'm just hearing, but I heard it today. Yeah, Gamer said today.
Nuts. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
like that
I can't
that
even-
one
I
came
can't
out of nowhere.
Exactly. I was wondering. I was like, why would, out of all of the companies that what? Just such a weird thing to do. I can't imagine the reason. I haven't really looked into it, but I can't imagine the reason why.
Well, a gamer just
Work
put
on
up
live
potentially. Yeah, I was gonna say if that's the reason, it's not gonna make anyone here happy. But yeah, no, that is, yeah,
Yeah, that's a miss. For sure. But yeah, that's me. That's me. For
awesome.
This month.
Des, what about you?
I guess for a critical hit, I have been like quietly on my own, just like really enjoying the bigger and bolder update for Terraria.
Mhm.
It's got a lot of interesting stuff in there, and
I need
it's
to listen
also
to it.
like, what's it called? They've like like the devs of Terraria have already come out and stated that like after that update was done, the crossplay was the next thing to get off their list. So like it's just another big thing to be looking forward towards.
Gamer's gonna love that one.
Critical, yeah, critical misses though. Of recently, they found a massive warehouse filled with a bunch of 50 and 40 series GPU cards and RAM sticks in China that are being sold to AI companies for data centers, even though they were meant to be curbed due to US legislation stuff and other things. They're trying to figure out workarounds by going through China to do it. And that's not very cash money because
Yeah.
that means less, access for gamers, specifically in PC, but also RAM is very important for console gamers too, for developing new consoles and stuff like that. And we could be seeing huge price surges because of this shenanigans. So that's not very good for us as a whole.
Yeah,
But
no.
yeah,
Not really good for
that's
the planet,
my two
period.
stuff there. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll be on Mars in
Yeah.
it's
5
it's a
years
pretty big
anyway.
miss.
I can't believe I said that with a straight face.
Yeah,
Buried. Yeah, it's like the ET Atari game all over again. No, the problem is no.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, ET. That was. We don't need to talk about that game. But Slam. What about you?
That
What
game
are
was
your
up there.
critical hits and misses this month?
Oh, I'm struggling with critical misses, but with a critical, can I talk about like like a rumor being a critical hit?
I'm okay with it.
Mm.
Uh,
This is again. We'll just say that rumor for everybody. This is unconfirmed.
this is
You're
a
hearing it
rumor.
now.
This is Yeah, this is unconfirmed, but or I haven't seen confirmed reports, but Red Dead Redemption 3 is apparently gone into the making, and I love the Red Dead Redemption
Mm.
series. So if there's any truth behind this, I'm so excited. It's I like Red Dead 2 was just such a huge jump up from Red Dead 1, so I'm so excited to see what they do. But I'm also very concerned we could get very close to the end and then we have GTA again, and where they just go, oh sorry, we're gonna like wait for another year. So I'm hoping it's a hit. It could be a miss.
Yeah, we shall see. I'm sure it
We
will
shall
be. Like,
see.
let's be real. I don't think any of the uh, Red Dead Redemption games have been bad.
That's true. That is true.
Uh,
I don't think I have. I think for the only critical miss, and I'm kind of hesitant saying it because it's still new, but Disney Dreamlight did a update last week, and they changed the way that the dream snaps are voted on and how they get done, kind of pushed through. And look, I'm all for like the changes seem kind of okay, but I've now seen them in action. And what it is so just so you guys know, Dream Snaps are the only way to get the paid currency. Well, not the only way, the main way to get the paid currency for free. So you do a good great Dream Snap, people vote on it. It's basically a pretty picture. You make the pretty picture and people vote on it, and you get the moonstones as a result. They made changes to it last year, which was, I think, a massive hit. They changed what you actually get, and so people get a lot less. But now they've changed it so it's 100% voting, and that they used to have requirements. They still have requirements to enter, but the requirements won't push you forward in the voting. And so now we're seeing a lot of, or when I was voting, instead of seeing a lot of people that put lots and lots of effort into it, I saw lots of people that were just doing like their very first selfie with Mickey Mouse, or which is fine when you're a starter, but for some it was, like they just put no effort in it, and it's like, oh, okay, you're this is now what I'm seeing, and I didn't actually get to see as many as of their more developed images this time around. So I think that's a little bit of a critical miss.
yes, yeah. I mean, you are the Disney Dreamlight Valley expert on not just this podcast, but
No.
I don't know
probably
anything
most
else.
of Twitch. So if you say it's a miss, I'm gonna agree. But Tess, what about you? Your critical hit and miss for this month?
My critical hit, and this has been known for a while, but I just recently found out about it, is that Elden Ring is getting a manga. And I'm so hyped for that. What now? A critical miss? I have to agree with Slam. I'm happy. I've been struggling with that. Because I haven't seen any game news or like anything in my personal life really that I've been like, this is a bummer. So.
No, fair. I didn't know about the adaptation for Elden Ring, so that is definitely going to be interesting. I will definitely
I'm
have
so
to look.
hyped.
Yeah, I'll have to look
Heck
up more
yeah.
into that. For me, I think the critical hit is, ironically, Sony had a really good state of play. A couple of, I don't remember if it was a week or a couple of days ago, they announced a whole bunch of games that are like coming out and some like cross-platform ones. Like the one that I am most excited about is like Castlevania is coming back. And I love Castlevania, so Castlevania Belmont's Revenge, and it's also being made by the developers of Dead Cells, so that has like all the happiness going on in me. Like there's so many other like games that were announced on that, like a whole bunch of RPGs, a whole bunch of like just things like coming out. Like I am thoroughly excited. If you guys didn't like, I don't even have a Sony console, but the fact that like a lot of them are even going, like I said, cross-platform, really excited about that. As far as my critical miss, I was struggling for something, and then the other day, Nintendo'd. So there was a independent Pokemon trading card store in New York City that was the victim of an armed robbery early this year, where people posing as fans came in and threatened employees and customers with hammers and a gun. The robbery made international news. So what did Nintendo do when they got wind of it happening? They had their lawyers tell the store that they need to change their name because their name was, I think it was PokeCourt. And they went, no, that's too close to a registered trademark. You have to change your name. So after this store had been robbed at literal gunpoint for, I want to get the exact, $100,000 worth of product, Nintendo decides, you know what we should do?
Jesus.
We should sue them. So
Oh
the
my
store
goodness.
has changed its name, but as you could see, I
Jesus.
am never going to get the Nintendo sponsorship, because as much as I may like a franchise or two from them, I'm going to call their ass out. Because
Yeah, that's
Nintendo gonna Nintendo, apparently. But before we get too upset over that, I would like to thank everyone who...
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
I figured out what you saying the Nintendo thing made me figure out what my critical miss was. Poketopia is only coming to the Switch 2.
Yes, that's.
Oh.
I'm so gutted about that.
Huge
Sorry.
miss. Sorry, okay.
No, that's the weird Ditto game, right?
Yes.
Got it. Oh,
Yeah.
Nintendo. But yeah, I just want to thank everyone for hanging out with us tonight on Press Start Together. Those of you in chat, those of you who rated, those of you who obviously came out to join myself and my wonderful two co-hosts tonight. I want to, make sure that we go around and have everyone, let them know where they can find you. So I'm going to start with our guests. Slam, I'm going to start with you. Where can people find you?
People can find me on Twitch under the username Slaminum. That's pretty much the best place to find me.
All Awesome, no problem. Des, what about you?
Yeah, same. You guys can find me here on Twitch as Despiro TV. You also can find me on YouTube and Threads and Instagram and stuff. But on Threads and Instagram, I think I'm under your best friend Despero. So, yeah,
Nice. Thank you
I
so
don't know. I
much.
do a lot of weird, silly names.
Zeno, what about you? Where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Zeno's Cantina on Instagram and Threads. I no longer use TikTok right now, but you can also find me at Upscrolled on Upscrolled as Zeno's Mothership, as well as YouTube as Zeno's Mothership, and here on Twitch as Zeno's Mothership. And I think that's it right now. I don't have anything else. I think. No, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. And Tess, what about you? Where can people find you?
You can find me on most social media at Tess on Holiday.
Awesome. And once again, I am Ed. You can find me at the Altaholic. That is LLIC, because someone took the correct spelling of the name years ago and still won't give it back. I'm not bitter. You can find me on Twitch, Instagram, YouTube, and Threads, all under that handle. But again, once again, I want to thank everyone for hanging out tonight. It was a wonderful chat. I'm sorry that I'm feeling under the weather, and if, I'm not my normal woo self. But don't forget, guys, save early, save often, and always press start together. Have a good one. All right, I hit the marker. So once again, Slam and Des, thank you.